Chapter 8:17. Yi Chen forcibly suppressed the urge to take out the Sky Scorpio sword. At this moment, the black-robed elder was already approaching. Even if he took out the sword and broke the energy cover, he wouldn't be able to escape from the black-robed elder's control. Therefore, it would be better to wait and see before making a decision. Otherwise, a single Sky Scorpio sword could bring about too many variables. Most importantly, compared to the evil shattering sword, the Sky Scorpio sword consumed several times more Zhen Yuan. One sword strike would probably drain his Zhen Yuan, which was tantamount to seeking his own death. Turning around, Yi Chen's face darkened. "What business do you have with us, sir?" The black-robed elder slowly walked over and said with a creepy smile, "Two things, take her away, and kill you. You really want a life and death struggle?" Circulating the Green Lotus sword arts, Yi Chen's Zhen Yuan accumulated to the extreme. The Destruction Sword Soul and Immortal Sword Soul in his Sea of Soul trembled unceasingly, as if they would fly out at any moment. The black-robed elder was a demonic human king, and his battle power was inestimable. Yi Chen had to push his battle power to the limit, or even surpass it, to have a chance to contend against him. A life and death struggle? You think you're qualified? Stopping dozens of li away, the black-robed elder said disdainfully. Step back a bit. Yi Chen knew that this battle was unavoidable, and it would probably be the most dangerous one since his debut. Tilting his head, he told Murong Qingcheng to step back dozens of li to avoid being injured by the shockwaves of the battle. If there was a chance, he would escape first. Be careful. Pursing her lips, Murong Qingcheng obediently stepped back. However, it was impossible for her to escape by herself. But now was not the time to distract Yi Chen. En. Yi Chen nodded, and his eyes moved back to the black-robed elder. Seems like you won't give up without a fight. The black-robed elder said. Yi Chen said, I, Yi Chen, have never given up without a fight. Not this time, and not in the future. If you want my life, come. While speaking, he took out 10 supreme clear pills and put them in his mouth. At this critical moment, he needed supreme clear pills to recover his Zhen Yuan. The black-robed old man was confident of his victory, so he didn't try to stop him. Are you ready? His voice became sharp. Bring it on. Haha, go to hell. From dozens of miles away, the black-robed elder threw out a palm attack towards Yi Chen. This palm attack did not use any profound sense martial arts, it was just pure Zhen Yuan palm energy. However, the palm energy that had been thrown out by the human demon king was horrifying to the extreme. Once the palm attack was thrown out, the clouds in the sky sped up 100 times faster than before. The seawater was split into two, creating a miraculous deep ditch. As for the volcanic island, half of it was destroyed by the palm attack, while the other half was on the elder's side. The shattered pieces did not scatter in all directions. Instead, they floated in the air, motionless. It turned out that the black-robed old man's palm strike had turned the area within 1,000 li into a vacuum. At the same time, the sky darkened completely. Demonic chi surged, as if doomsday had arrived. However, this alone was not enough to make Yi Chen's expression change. What truly caused his expression to change was that the space in front of him had shattered into thousands of pieces like a mirror. This was a strengthened version of bewitching mirror shattering, and its might was more than doubled. Waning moon? Don't take it as a joke. Yi Chen roared, and a cyan chi flow spread out with him as the center. In the next moment, a boundless sword domain covered hundreds of li numerous cyan swords condensed and shot out, facing the incoming attack. Hey! It's sword domain. The black-robed old man's mind turned at lightning speed. Among life and death sword kings, there were not more than 3 who possessed sword domain. He only knew one. Sword domain's might was vast, combining defense, suppression, and offense. If a life and death sword king enveloped him with sword domain, the black-robed old man's only thought would be to escape. He would run as fast and as far as he could. If he couldn't escape, he would be tortured to death without any hope. Unfortunately, Yi Chen's sword domain was merely in embryonic form, and his cultivation base was a whole realm lower than the black-robed old man's. Not to mention embryonic form, even if Yi Chen had grasped the true sword domain, he wouldn't be afraid. The reason he was astonished was because Yi Chen had grasped sword domain too early, surpassing common sense. Sword domain alone was not enough. Yi Chen brandished the evil vanquishing sword, and the strongest sword move, bewitching mirror shattering, accompanied by a cyan sword rain, shot out. Ding 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 ding, catcha catcha catcha, peng peng peng. Countless clashing noises were heard as a galaxy seemed to have appeared between Yi Chen and the black-robed old man. Within the galaxy, the sword light was bright and dazzling. Transparent cracks spread out in all directions, seeming like the sharpest godly blade. Wherever it passed, everything would be destroyed. In the end, all the energy shattered into energy streams, and a huge black blurry hand pierced through the colorful energy streams and slammed into Yi Chen's protective Jin Yuan. Puff! Yi Chen spurted out a mouthful of blood. His protective Jin Yuan, which had been reinforced by the pseudo-extreme-grade bronze armor, couldn't even withstand a single blow. The hazy palm imprint landed on his chest. Immediately, a majestic power passed through the armor and into his body. At this moment, he felt as if his internal organs were about to shatter. His chest seemed to have caved in, and his back was protruding out. So powerful. Too powerful. The reason why Yi Chen didn't die was because of the bronze armor, the dragon bone layer covering his skin, and the undying body, which gave him a tenacious life force. Even so, the black-robed old man's weakened palm still nearly tore him into pieces. Yi Chen had finally experienced the might of a demonic human king. The gap between the two could no longer be calculated with logic. They were not on the same level at all. Gulp. Swallowing a supreme clear pellet, he took out a handful of yuan qi replenishing upper-grade pellets from his storage ring and stuffed them all into his mouth, then swallowed them all. Impossible. He didn't die. The black-robed old man was greatly surprised. How powerful a life and death king was. As long as one knew they could shatter the void, it would be enough. Although his palm strike had been mostly neutralized by Yi Chen's sword domain and bewitching mirror shattering, the remaining power was still enough to easily kill a strongest half-step king, even if the latter was wearing a pseudo-extreme-grade artifact. Not bad. I have to have a whole new level of respect for you. The black-robed old man stood with his hands clasped behind his back, a trace of graveness in his eyes. Given time, when Yi Chen entered life and death realm, he would become a frightening enemy. Since he was an enemy, he would have to cut the weeds and remove the roots. Otherwise, the consequences would be unbearable. Yi Chen's body was stooped, and his aura was extremely weak. He seemed like a candle in the wind that could be extinguished at any moment. However, his eyes were extremely bright as they fixedly stared at the black-robed old man. Inside his body, the yuan qi of the pellets was surging. Under the operation of the undying body, it was rapidly nourishing his body and restoring his vitality. Seeing Yi Chen's aura rising, showing signs of recovering to his peak, the black-robed old man's expression changed. What was he seeing? A mere half-step king had actually comprehended the undying body. This was an ability only life and death kings possessed, and it was one of the symbols of life and death kings. No, it still hasn't reached the level of broken limb rebirth. The black-robed old man's undying body was the first realm of broken limb rebirth, so he naturally knew the mysteries of broken limb rebirth. Although the recovery speed of Yi Chen's undying body was far inferior to broken limb rebirth, it still couldn't be underestimated. After all, such a heavy injury had been recovered by 70 to 80%. Let's see how many palms you can take. Without using any profound martial skill, the black-robed old man extended his right hand, intending to strike at Yi Chen. He believed that this palm strike could absolutely kill the latter. It should be known that the latter had been injured so heavily by him even at his peak, and had yet to recover. Demonic fist. Abruptly, the bat wings on Murong Qingqing's back blossomed with a dazzling black radiance. With a flap of the bat wings, Murong Qingqing's speed rose to an unprecedented limit. In less than 1/100th of a blink, she arrived above the black-robed old man and punched down. This punch was like a small shining black sun, indestructible and indestructible. It was unknown if the black-robed old man couldn't react in time or if he didn't care, but he actually let Murong Qingqing's punch hit him. Boom! When the fist was 3 feet away from the black-robed old man, a layer of black qi blocked Murong Qingqing's fist, and a ferocious chi burst out, soaring into the sky. Pop! The chi wall shattered, and Murong Qingcheng was sent flying. The black-robed old man laughed. Worthy of the perfect demonic human bloodline, you have so many secrets. Your punch just now contained an impure king-level demonic power, otherwise it would have been impossible to break my true Yuan Qi wall. Good, the more potential you have, the more secrets you have, the more benefits my demonic human clan will have. Even a punch containing demonic power essence couldn't touch him? Murong Qingcheng's face revealed a trace of bitterness. The demonic power essence in her body came from the demonic beast kings in the parallel space battlefield, and its purity was equivalent to king-level demonic power. As she entered the half-step king realm, the diluted demonic power essence was also close to king-level demonic power. Combined with the demonic power fist, Murong Qingcheng originally thought she could slightly threaten the black-robed old man. However, the latter's strength was completely beyond her expectations. In other words, she had never truly understood the strength of life and death kings or demonic human kings. She had merely made some guesses. 6-way sky ceiling array. Withdrawing his smile, the black-robed old man threw out 6 crystal pillars, which pierced through the void and landed around Murong Qingcheng. In the next moment, a large number of crystal light screens exploded, interconnecting and forming a sealed crystal space. Murong Qingcheng was trapped inside, floating in the air. You can have a good rest inside. After I kill him, I'll bring you back. The black-robed old man no longer looked at Murong Qingcheng, and his gaze fell on Yi Chen. Yi Chen's injuries had already completely recovered, and his aura was like a beacon. A year ago, his undying body had already faintly touched upon the second realm limb regrowth. His recovery speed was much faster than before. Admittedly, the black-robed old man's palm had left him on the verge of death, but as long as his body wasn't destroyed, his recovery would be quick. Of course, the initial stage of the undying body had its limits. He didn't dare to be sure how many strikes he could endure. I can't take a second strike. Yi Chen glanced at Murong Qingcheng, who was trapped in the crystal space, and a resolute light flickered in his eyes. His storage ring flickered with a dim light, and a peerless sword with a boundless might appeared in Yi Chen's hand. Without unsheathing the sword, a world-slaughtering sword chi spread out, engulfing the surroundings. With the Sky Scorpio sword in hand, Yi Chen's aura rose again and again, as if there was no limit. At this moment, he seemed to be able to contend against the black-robed old man. Chapter 8:18. Half. Being hit by the seemingly tangible sword chi, the black-robed old man's pupils suddenly shrank, turning into 2 dots. Extreme-grade sword. That's right, it's an extreme-grade sword. Only an extreme-grade sword can have this kind of might. Moreover, it's not an ordinary extreme-grade sword. Its sword chi is so powerful. The black-robed old man's heartbeat sped up. Although he didn't use swords, it didn't stop him from using them as a means of attack. Taking a step back, with this extreme-grade sword, he could trade with other life and death kings for things he wanted. Kid, hand over the sword, and I'll leave your corpse intact. The black-robed old man sucked in a deep breath and said in a sinister tone. If you want it, you'll have to ask it first. Yi Chen held up the sword with both of his hands, and a beam of purple light shot out. The surrounding surreal space was illuminated by the purple light, and countless tiny purple crystal grains started to condense. Although these crystal grains were mostly purple in color, there were some differences as well. Some were purple-red, some were purple-yellow, some were purple-green, and some were purple-gold. Obviously, these were the crystallization of different elements of natural Yuan Qi. It's one of the top 10 miraculous metals, purple crystal iron. Seeing the mystical aspect of the Sky Scorpio sword, the black-robed old man couldn't restrain his palpitating heart. Purple crystal iron was extremely hard to find. An extreme-grade sword containing purple crystal iron would increase its value by at least 30%. Let go. The black-robed old man's body was like a ghost as he rapidly approached Yi Chen. His pair of powerful hands emitting a black metallic luster attempted to snatch the Sky Scorpio sword from Yi Chen's hand. Ding! The black-robed old man's speed was too fast. Yi Chen closed his eyes and, relying on his soul power and intuition, slashed at the void, clashing with the opponent's palm. Spiritual sword. The Sky Scorpio sword had clearly struck a solid object, but at the same time, a majestic power passed through the sword and into Yi Chen's body. Swish. Holding the Sky Scorpio sword, Yi Chen shot out in the air, creating a purple-black shockwave in front of him. The black-clothed old man didn't move from his original position. He wasn't pushed back, but there was a faint bloodstain on his palm. On the surface of the bloodstain, thin purple crystals spread out, wanting to cover his palm. Within the bloodstain, crystals were also seeping in. Crack. A powerful Zhen Yuan poured into his palm, shattering the crystal and shaking it off. The black-robed old man licked his lips. What a powerful crystallization power. It can actually threaten me. If Yi Chen were not at mid-half-step king warrior level, but at the first or second level of life and death challenge, the black-robed elder might not be able to easily shake out the crystallized power. This power was too strange, it seemed like it could crystallize anything. After being pushed back dozens of li, Yi Chen's arms were aching. The human demon king was too powerful. Even through the Sky Scorpio sword, his arms were still under enormous pressure. If it were the evil vanquishing sword, his arms would have been broken by now. Unfortunately, you don't deserve such a treasured sword. The black-robed old man attacked once again. This time, his movement art had already surpassed the realm of phantoms. As for why he didn't meet force with force and kill Yi Chen directly, no one knew. Perhaps he wanted to snatch the Sky Scorpio sword before killing Yi Chen, or perhaps he was playing a cat-and-mouse game. 1 turned into 10, 10 turned into 100, and 100 turned into 1,000. In the void, the black-robed old man's silhouette flickered incessantly. Under his influence, the sky seemed to be covered by a black curtain, and the old man's silhouette moved wantonly within this black curtain. Soul Eye, open. Yi Chen's soul power could no longer keep up with the black-robed old man's movements. In his perception, black-robed old men were everywhere. As the silver vertical eye opened, Yi Chen once again closed his eyes, replacing them with the silver vertical eye. What the silver vertical eye saw was a silver world. In this silver world, the black-robed old man's speed slowed down, until it finally reached the level that Yi Chen could react to. At this moment, Yi Chen felt like he was watching a movie, except that the people in the movie could come and kill him at any time. Oh, another new ability. The black-robed old man had seen too many miracles on Yi Chen. Sword Domain, Sky Scorpio Sword, Soul Eye. He really wanted to know what other trump cards Yi Chen could take out in this desperate situation. This was also the reason why he didn't directly kill Yi Chen. In his eyes, the Sky Scorpio sword was already in the bag. How could a cooked duck fly? If it could fly, then it wasn't a cooked duck. Without a sound, the black-robed old man appeared in front of Yi Chen, his claw reaching out. I've been waiting for you. Although Yi Chen's attacking speed wasn't as fast as the black-robed old man, he had the soul eye, which allowed him to see through the black-robed old man's movements one step ahead. When the opponent approached, Yi Chen was already prepared, slashing out with his sword. This sword was Waning Moon, the Waning Moon performed by the Sky Scorpio sword. The purple-black crescent-shaped sword energy was like an extremely thin crystal. As it collided with the black-robed old man's palm, a large amount of purple crystals exploded, as if a crystal firework had been set off. Amidst the fireworks, the two rapidly retreated. Huff. Heavily gasping for air, Yi Chen hurriedly swallowed 3 upper clarity pills. From the start of the battle until now, Yi Chen hadn't stopped swallowing pellets. Of the 10 upper clarity pills, only 2 were left. This was also the reason why he could use the Sky Scorpio sword twice in a row. Feeling the Zhen Yuan within his body rapidly recovering, Yi Chen's silver vertical eye unwaveringly stared at the black-robed old man, not daring to relax in the slightest. Dozens of li away, more than half of the black-robed old man's protective Zhen Yuan had been crystallized. His right hand and right arm were also covered in a layer of purple crystals. They were fragmented, but carried a frightening destructive power. Even if the opponent was a demonic human king, he would still be affected. It's indeed a powerful supreme-grade sword. The black-robed old man didn't seem to care. With a shake of his body, countless purple crystals were shattered. The crystallized power couldn't enter his body at all. This was the gap between their cultivation bases, which couldn't be made up for. Not even the supreme grade sword could. Still not enough. Yi Chen's brows creased. This was the first time he felt such hopeless despair. Even when he was still at Clasping Yuan Realm and encountered Daoist Jin Huang of Floating Mountain, he didn't feel such despair. This kind of despair didn't only come from his soul, but also from his battle intent. Even if there's no hope, I'll create it. The negative emotions were instantly destroyed. Yi Chen's gaze turned sharper, as if he had broken through a new boundary. With one more step, he would reach a new peak. You still haven't given up. Hihi, that's good. It won't be fun if you give up too early. As a demonic human king, the black-robed old man didn't feel happy about killing a lower realm martial artist. It was like stepping on an ant. Who would care? If the ant was special, wouldn't it be less fun to step on it? Bewitching mirror shattering. As the black-robed old man spoke, Yi Chen took the initiative to attack. With a swing of his sword, the void was dyed purple and began to distort rapidly. In the next moment, the black-robed old man seemed to be sealed in another world. If the previous bewitching mirror shattering looked like a mirror, then this time, under the Sky Scorpio sword, looked like a huge purple crystal screen. Break! Yi Chen let out a low roar as his Jin Yuan was completely drained by the Sky Scorpio sword. With a loud bang, the purple crystal screen shattered, and the black-robed old man inside was also shattered into millions of pieces, turning into a light rain that scattered in all directions. Something's wrong. Swallowing the last two upper cleansing pellets, Yi Chen rapidly retreated. Rumble. The place where Yi Chen was originally at caved in, and a huge hole appeared in the space. The edge of the hole was filled with cracks like glass. Unknowingly, the black-robed old man had already escaped from the bewitching mirror shattering, and instantly approached. If you were a member of my demonic human clan, how great would it be? To be honest, the black-robed old man had never met such an outstanding genius like Yi Chen. Whether it was profound sense martial arts, sword will, innate ability, battle skills, or instant reaction, they were all out of this world. Although the two perfect demonic humans in their clan were also outstanding, it was only their bloodline that was outstanding. In terms of innate talent and comprehension, they were far inferior to Yi Chen. The bewitching mirror shattering actually couldn't lock onto him. In the distance, Yi Chen's complexion was extremely unsightly. Clearly, the scene just now was an illusion. The black-robed old man simply wasn't sealed in the purple crystal screen. He reckoned that he had already shattered the void a moment ago. Although the bewitching mirror shattering could also affect the depths of the void with the amplification of the Sky Scorpio sword, it was clearly much weaker and couldn't do anything to the black-robed old man. It could be said that the gap between life and death kings and half-step kings was not only in terms of cultivation base, but also in the void shattering. Unfortunately, you're not a member of my clan. The black-robed old man's expression suddenly turned gloomy, and his killing intent surged. At this moment, he had decided to kill Yi Chen, because the latter couldn't possibly have any trump cards left. Looking at the black-robed old man brimming with killing intent, Yi Chen's expression strangely relaxed. The Jun Yuan in his body had more or less recovered after being dissolved by the two upper cleansing pellets. Then, he unblocked the Dragon God medal, and a large amount of Jun Yuan flowed into his body, instantly recovering 90%. I indeed can't defeat you, but it can. The storage ring flickered with a dim light, and an ink painting appeared in Yi Chen's left hand. The painting unfolded and fluttered in the wind. This is... The black-robed old man's gaze fell on the painting in Yi Chen's hand. It was a painting of a person standing on a mountain peak, gazing into the distance. One could only see his back, majestic and elegant. Holding one end of the painting, Yi Chen operated his Jin Yuan and poured it into the painting. Buzz. A strange scene happened. As Yi Chen poured in his Jin Yuan, the painting came to life. The mountain peak turned solid, and the view in the distance was deep and vast. The grass and trees were deep and serene. Meanwhile, the back of the figure on the mountain peak started to flutter in the wind, as if there was a wind blowing out of the painting. The figure turned around. His face was indistinct, but his eyes strangely shone, as if he could see through the entire world and land on the black-robed old man's body. Thump. The black-robed old man's heart skipped a beat. Not only did the opponent's gaze penetrate the painting and land on him, it even brought him a strange pressure. Chapter 8:19. Now that you've brought out this painting, you'll have to resolve the future crisis of True Water Palace ruins. Staring at the black-robed old man, the person in the painting said to Yi Chen. Yi Chen sucked in a deep breath and asked, "Senior, what does the crisis of True Water Palace ruins represent? Is it the resurrection of the dead? If only it were that simple." The person in the painting sighed. "Senior, who are you?" Yi Chen boldly asked. "Yuan Songhai. Yuan Songhai? Why does this name sound so familiar?" The black-robed old man's face revealed a bitter expression. Suddenly, his expression changed as he cried out in alarm, "Yuan Emperor, Yuan Songhai. You're Yuan Emperor? Yuan Emperor?" Yi Chen was also startled. The last person to leave an imprint on the Emperor Scar Stele was Yuan Emperor. Yuan Emperor had an innate physique, and his Jin Yuan could be said to be boundless. If the person in the painting was truly Yuan Emperor, it would be too outrageous. The person in the painting faintly smiled. "Turns out there's still someone who remembers my name." The words of the man in the picture undoubtedly told Yi Chen and the black-robed old man that he was the last titled monarch of True Spirit Continent or True Spirit World who could leave his imprint on Emperor Scar Stele, Yuan Emperor. "Senior, rest assured. If I have the ability, Yi Chen is willing to resolve the crisis of True Water Palace ruins. If I don't, then Senior has misjudged me," Yi Chen solemnly said. "Misjudged me? Hihi, you're quite honest." Yuan Emperor smiled. The black-robed old man's expression changed several times. Ultimately, his expression turned sinister. "Even if you're Yuan Emperor, so what? The real Yuan Emperor is already dead. You're nothing but a projection left behind by him. You think you can defeat me with your projection? Why don't you try?" The Yuan Emperor stepped out of the painting and appeared in the real world. The ink marks on his body gradually faded away. At first glance, he didn't look any different from a real person. However, when he used his soul power to sense, he found that this body was a bit blurry and illusory. "I'll give it a try. Watch me blow you up." Magic mark annihilation. When fighting with Yi Chen, the black-robed old man did not use any profound martial arts, but the image of the Yuan Emperor was different. Before knowing the opponent's strength, it was better to be more serious. Otherwise, if he was careless and suffered a great loss, it would not be worth it. With a palm strike, a dark crack appeared in the void. It was like a brand that was about to be branded on the body of the Yuan Emperor. It was overbearing and powerful, and there was no way to dodge it. Yi Chen squinted his eyes. If the black-robed old man had used a profound martial skill before, even with the Sky Scorpio sword, he wouldn't have been able to block it. The gap was too big. Profound is too low. The projection of Yuan Emperor shook his head, pointed a finger at the dark crack, and then casually wiped it. Puff! The dark crack vanished like smoke in thin air, as if it had never existed. "Damn it! Demonic Tao River!" The black-robed old man roared and pushed his Jin Yuan to the limit. His whole body emitted a dazzling black crystal light as he stretched out both of his hands, pushing toward the projection of Yuan Emperor. It was as if he was pushing a huge millstone, wanting to grind the projection of Yuan Emperor alive. Demon's martial skill. Watching the black river surging over and collapsing the space, the projection of Yuan Emperor's expression was indifferent as he punched out. Bang! The black river exploded, and black splashes filled the sky. It was as if a huge fountain had erupted between the two of them. The might of the fist of Yuan Emperor's projection had already reached an extreme level, shocking the ancients and dazzling the contemporaries. Impossible. How can a projection be so powerful? The black-robed old man was blasted away, gliding in the void for dozens of li before stabilizing his body. "You're too weak. Low-grade martial skill, low-grade martial will. Is this the level of life and death kings?" The projection of Yuan Emperor stood with his hands clasped behind his back and said indifferently, "Don't be too arrogant. Your era has long passed." The black-robed old man's long hair fluttered in the air as strange black patterns appeared on both of his hands, covering his entire palms. As the black patterns took shape, his aura abruptly soared. The frightening Jin Yuan ripple caused the space to tremble and cracks to appear everywhere. Hey! I've already refined the supreme grade gloves into my body. Not bad. Raising his brows, the projection of Yuan Emperor nodded. Die. The black-robed old man didn't care who the opponent was. As long as they obstructed him, they would die. He thrust out his palm, and an even deeper black crack imprinted itself on the projection of Yuan Emperor. It was precisely demonic mark destruction. The projection of Yuan Emperor's expression didn't change. His figure flickered, and the space seemed to disappear as he retreated 10 li. The black crack didn't imprint itself on the projection of Yuan Emperor. It merely remained in the void, not dispersing for a long time. Such a movement. This was the first time Yi Chen saw two life and death kings exchanging blows. The methods of the black-robed old man astonished him. He could actually leave a mark in the void that didn't disperse for a long time. If this mark was imprinted on a person's body, would they be tortured to death? On the other hand, Yuan Emperor's movement was simply unfathomable. His movements seemed to have already dispelled the boundaries of the void, making it impossible for the black-robed old man to lock onto him. The black-robed old man was 100 times more astonished than Yi Chen. He was extremely clear on the might of demonic scar annihilation. This kind of move could only be resisted head-on, and couldn't be evaded. As long as the black crack locked onto one's life aura, it wouldn't stop until one died. Even if one hid in the void, it wouldn't work. Previously, when Yuan Emperor's projection destroyed the black crack with a finger, he could still accept it, because demonic scar annihilation could be destroyed. But now, the projection of Yuan Emperor had actually evaded it, causing it to lose its target and imprint itself in the void. This body of mine has limited energy. I won't bother with you anymore. Sword, come. Yuan Emperor's projection, who had retreated 10 li away, waved his hand. The evil vanquishing sword on Yi Chen's waist automatically unsheathed and landed in the hand of Yuan Emperor's projection. Yi Chen didn't even have time to react. You want the evil vanquishing sword? Yi Chen didn't understand. According to reason, the Sky Scorpio sword was more powerful than the evil vanquishing sword. With the Sky Scorpio sword in hand, Yuan Emperor's projection could easily kill the black-robed old man. Yuan Emperor's projection seemed to know Yi Chen's thoughts and said, "The evil vanquishing sword contains the power of evil vanquishing, and is targeted at demonic humans. Moreover, that supreme grade sword of yours consumes too much in Yuan. With my current body, I can't bear too much. Moreover, the evil vanquishing sword is enough for me. So that's how it is." Yi Chen nodded. This was Yuan Emperor's projection, not Yuan Emperor himself. He didn't have nearly inexhaustible Jin Yuan. His energy was limited, and it would naturally be best if he could consume as little as possible. Void Yuan chop. Holding the evil vanquishing sword, Yuan Emperor's projection's gaze turned sharp. With a wave of his hand, the evil vanquishing sword shot out an invisible sword chi, chopping towards the black-robed old man's body. Ah! The black-robed old man roared. He couldn't even sense the trajectory of this sword, but his intuition told him that if he was hit by this sword head-on, he would definitely die. Devil flash. His body flickered. The black-robed old man's body flickered like a flickering star. Poochie. The invisible sword chi chopped on the black-robed old man's illusory body, but it seemed to have missed. However, Yi Chen didn't think so, because blood splashed and a faint groan could be heard. Just as he expected, the illusory body shattered, and a real arm fell off. It was crushed into a bloody mist by the sword chi, then disappeared into nothingness. In the distance, the black-robed old man's body appeared. His face was pale, and his right arm had already disappeared, looking extremely uncoordinated. Why? Why did I get hit? The black-robed old man was shocked. The devil flash was also a martial art of the demons. Although the demon's martial art didn't require one to cultivate profound, in fact, the devil flash still contained the power of space. It was just that the form was different from the space profound, but the essence was no different. He thought that by using the devil flash, he would be able to escape, but his right arm was still chopped off. Yuan Emperor curled his lips, You're lucky. My current strength is far from the real me, and the Void Yuan chop is my weakest move. Other martial arts consume too much energy. Yi Chen was dumbfounded. The strength of the Yuan Emperor's projection was definitely far from the Yuan Emperor's. The gap was huge, and the Void Yuan chop was his weakest move. Even so, the black-robed old man, who was a demonic human king, couldn't withstand a single blow from him. From this, it could be inferred how powerful the real Yuan Emperor was. However, I've already seen through your movement trajectory. This time, I'll destroy you. The Yuan Emperor's projection raised the evil vanquishing sword for the second time, and lightly chopped. No. The black-robed old man fled in terror, falling into the void. But under the pursuit of the Void Yuan chop, the space boundary became transparent. Yi Chen could even see the black-robed old man fleeing in the void. His expression was one of terror, wishing that his parents had given him an extra pair of legs. Such power, worthy of being the Yuan Emperor who shook the world in the past. At this time, countless black petals fell from the void. These petals were only the size of copper coins, and they had clear lines and a soft texture. They were no different from real petals. These black petals were endless, falling from the sky like a rain of petals. And this rain of petals ignored the existence of the boundaries of space, falling into the outside world and then continuing to fall. The moment they touched the ground, they turned from solid to illusory, vanishing. Puff! Behind the black-robed old man, flower petals gushed out, and a beautiful woman wearing a gorgeous black robe suddenly appeared. This woman was extremely tall, and her eyes were a faint red. Her towering breasts were just right. She rubbed her right hand, and an invisible force surged out, then she waved it to the side. Kai! The invisible sword Qi turned around and disappeared into the depths of the void. Great Patriarch! Hearing this voice, the black-robed old man's tense nerves relaxed, and a joyful expression flashed across his face. Then, he turned around and respectfully saluted the black-robed woman. The chaotic demon sees Great Patriarch, isn't he the demonic human emperor? Yi Chen secretly cursed. The demonic human tribe was divided into clans. Generally, the patriarch of a clan was the patriarch. Only the patriarch of the entire clan was called the Great Patriarch. Oh, a strong one came. Kid, you've offended a lot of people. The Yuan Emperor's projection frowned, looking helplessly at Yi Chen. Yi Chen smiled wryly. What will come, I can't avoid it. Obviously, the other side came for Murong Qingcheng. A mere demonic human emperor wasn't worthy of coming personally. Chapter 820. Is that the perfect demonic human bloodline you spoke of? The black-robed woman looked at Murong Qingcheng in the crystal space. Indeed, and she cultivates pure demonic power. The black-robed old man operated his undying body as he spoke, recovering his severed right arm. As his flesh wriggled, his right arm instantly grew back. As it appeared, his entire aura dropped. Clearly, the sword strike from Yuan Emperor's projection had destroyed a lot of his cultivation base. Sizing up the bat wings on Murong Qingcheng's back, the black-robed woman nodded. She actually awakened the speed talent. Not bad, not bad. Great clan leader. Should we kill them? The black-robed old man looked at Yuan Emperor's projection and Yi Chen with overflowing killing intent. Just now, he had almost lost his life. You don't need to care about this matter. Moreover, you're too careless. The black-robed woman waved her hand, and a white thread was pulled out of the black-robed old man's body. This thread contained an extremely tyrannical purifying power. Its aura wasn't obvious, so it was hidden in the black-robed old man's body without being discovered. Evil vanquishing power. The black-robed old man was startled. Although this thing wouldn't kill him, it would reduce his cultivation base to a fundamental level, making it impossible for him to recover. Even more frightening was that if this evil vanquishing power suddenly erupted in his weakened state, even if he didn't die, he would suffer a cultivation deviation. Crack. The black-robed woman rubbed her fingers, and the silk-like evil vanquishing power was obliterated into nothingness. Her gaze fell on Yuan Emperor's projection and said, "A projection can't have such a powerful battle strength. If my guess is correct, You must have sealed a portion of your Jin Yuan in that spirit accumulation scroll. Only then would you have the strength to surpass ordinary life and death kings. Good insight. Yuan Emperor's projection faintly smiled. I wouldn't dare. At my level, I'm bound to have some insight. Walking out of the void, the black-robed woman stopped a dozen li away, and the black-robed old man followed behind her. You're here for this kid's girlfriend. Yuan Emperor could tell from the image that Murong Qingcheng in the crystal space was also a demonic human, and she was a perfect demonic human with a noble bloodline. He thought that Murong Qingcheng was kidnapped by Yi Chen, and then his people chased after her. Not bad. The black-robed woman nodded. Yuan Emperor's projection smiled and said, I would rather tear down 10 temples than destroy a marriage. This child is so outstanding, he is more than qualified to be your demonic human race's son-in-law. There is no need to kill him and do such a shady thing. The black-robed woman said, that's where you're wrong. Before this, I didn't know them. I just didn't want a perfect demonic human bloodline to wander outside and waste a heavenly treasure. So it turns out that he saw a good seedling and wanted to get his hands on him. Yuan Emperor's projection suddenly understood. Exactly. Since that's the case, there's no enmity between you and this child. Not only do you want to steal his girlfriend, you even want to kill him. That's too unreasonable. Yuan Emperor's projection's eyes flickered with a cold light. The black-robed old man interrupted, killing him is because he killed many of my demonic human clansmen. If we let him go, wouldn't our clansmen have died in vain? Your demonic human clan's dead clansmen were probably not geniuses, but this boy is a peerless genius. Killing him is a waste of God's gift. Moreover, I still need him to do something, so I can't allow you to kill him. The black-robed woman sneered, do you think you can stop me? Most likely not. Yuan Emperor's projection carefully sized up the black-robed woman, then shook his head. If I want to kill him, it's still up to me. Perhaps I might not be able to stop you, but you should know that a true monarch would have some means to steal the fortune of the world. Unfortunately, even after so many years, I still have some memories of it. I believe I can use you to test its might. You're threatening me. The black-robed woman narrowed her eyes, exuding a dangerous aura. It's not a threat, just a warning. The black-robed woman remained silent, but her aura became more and more dangerous, as if she would attack at any moment to kill Yuan Emperor's projection and Yi Chen. Who? Letting out a breath, the dangerous aura around the black-robed woman dissipated. She said with a faint smile, interesting, looks like you've got me for sure. Hehe, maybe I'm lying to you. You can give it a try. The black-robed old man was badly beaten by Yuan Emperor's projection, almost dying. He said to the black-robed woman, Grand Patriarch, he must be strong on the outside, but weak on the inside. With your strength, there's no need to be afraid of him. Even if he's still alive, he might not be able to do anything to you. Shut up. The black-robed woman glared at the black-robed old man. Yes. The black-robed old man was extremely obedient in front of the black-robed woman. You win. The black-robed woman gave up on the idea of probing. As for the black-robed old man's words, she did not even consider it. If Yuan Emperor's main body hadn't died, even 3 of her wouldn't have been his match. How could an ordinary titled monarch be able to leave a mark on the Emperor Scar Steely? And the current Yuan Emperor's projection looked extremely weak. She had 99% confidence that she could kill him. Unfortunately, just as the Yuan Emperor's projection had said, a true titled monarch would always have some heavenly treasures. These methods were profound and unfathomable, not reflected in combat power. Once hit, even if one's strength was doubled, they might still die. There was no need for her to gamble. Her gaze fell on Yi Chen. The black-robed woman said, Don't worry, I never planned to kill you. Otherwise, I wouldn't have come here personally. I don't have the ability to predict the future. She had been in seclusion all this time and was completely unaware of Murong Qingcheng's matter. Only when she came out of seclusion did she learn of the news. She knew that if she wanted Murong Qingcheng to willingly join the chaotic Demon Sea's human demon race, she couldn't kill Yi Chen. Otherwise, unless she erased his memories, he would definitely be filled with resentment. Fortunately, The human demon kings of the human demon race all carried sensory pearls. Relying on the senses of the sensory pearls, she quickly chased after Yi Chen. What happened next was what had just happened. Yi Chen's thoughts turned at lightning speed. He felt that the black-robed woman shouldn't be lying, and there was no need for her to lie. If not for the unexpected incident of the standing high sight painting, a human demon king could have easily taken away Murong Qingcheng. There was no need for her to come here personally and waste her time. Perhaps. Yi Chen declined to comment. I will take her away no matter what. The black-robed woman's tone changed, and she said resolutely. A helpless expression flickered on Yuan Emperor's face. Seems like there's no way to resolve this peacefully. As he spoke, 3 illusory flowers appeared above his head. One red, one yellow, and one blue. The 3 flowers intertwined and blossomed with a mysterious radiance. You really didn't lie to me. The black-robed woman saw the reaction of Yuan Emperor's image and continued, this matter can be resolved peacefully. I have the confidence to convince him. Oh. I'll wait and see then. The 3 flowers above Yuan Emperor's image remained motionless. Glancing at the flowers above Yuan Emperor's head with apprehension, the black-robed woman let out a breath and said to Yi Chen, you've cultivated to this level, which proves that you have a great determination to climb to the peak. In the future, you might even become a sword king, or even a sword emperor. Thanks for the compliment. Yi Chen's expression remained unchanged as he listened to the next words. But have you ever thought that if she follows you, will she really step into life and death realm? She's a perfect demonic human, and this is an unchangeable fact. In this world, demonic chi is extremely scarce, and it's simply not suitable for cultivating demonic power. I don't know how she cultivated to half-step king realm, but I'm sure that without any earth-shattering transformation, she'll never become a king. Has a perfect demonic human never appeared in Elysium? Yi Chen asked. There have been, but not one in the last 10,000 years. 10,000 years ago, they also needed an enormous opportunity to succeed. Moreover, each of them spent a long time, and their appearances were no longer there. Yuan Emperor's image smiled bitterly, she's right. Elysium is not suitable for cultivating demonic power. Demonic power is the energy that demons cultivate, and they don't belong to this world. You can also gamble, but I'm afraid you'll regret it. Under life and death realm, one only has a lifespan of 300 years. By the time she becomes a life and death king in 100 years, or even 200 years, she'll already be an old woman. Will you still like her then? Will it be suitable for you to be together? The black-robed woman closely stared at Yi Chen. Yi Chen's expression continuously changed. In fact, he was almost convinced. Her words were exactly what he was worried about. The demonic power crystals in Murong Qingcheng's body could at most allow her to reach the first layer of life and death chamber. As for demonic power essence, it was almost negligible. Moreover, breaking through to life and death realm was simply too difficult. Even human peerless geniuses didn't have much confidence in doing so, not to mention a demonic power cultivator like Murong Qingcheng. Taking a step back, even if Murong Qingcheng obtained a lot of demonic power crystals, it would only increase her chances by a little bit. However, her chances would still be lower than human geniuses. After all, breaking through to life and death realm required not only energy, but also environment. The black-robed woman could see that Yi Chen was struggling, so she continued, she has perfect demonic human bloodline. In chaotic demonic ocean, her position is transcendent. I will wholeheartedly nurture her and make her my last disciple. Moreover, you also know that the environment of chaotic demonic ocean is extremely suitable for demonic power cultivation. In that place, her chances of entering life and death realm will not be lower than yours. Once she becomes a demonic human king, she can go anywhere under the heavens. If you're not afraid of me harming you, you can come and see her whenever you want. Dispersing his hesitation, Yi Chen solemnly nodded. All right, I agree to let her go with you. However, if you don't treat her well or harms her, as long as I don't die, I will eradicate the entire chaotic demonic ocean sooner or later, leaving not a single blade of grass behind. Good kid. The black-robed woman was both startled and furious. No one had ever dared to threaten her in front of her. Fortunately, The other party had agreed. That will never happen. You can rest assured. I'll forgive your disrespect this time, but next time, you'll have to be careful. Hihi, you've got guts. Yuan Emperor was quite appreciative of Yi Chen's character. However, you'll have to convince her. The black-robed woman waved her hand, and the crystal space sealing Murong Qingcheng disappeared. Give me some time. Yi Chen's figure flickered and shot toward Murong Qingcheng. An hour later, Murong Qingcheng agreed. Their separation at this time was for the sake of a long reunion in the future. She was not a person who only cared about love. Moreover, if her cultivation base was low, she would only be a burden by Yi Chen's side. This was the last thing she wanted. Chapter 821. Let's go. The black-robed woman waved at Murong Qingcheng with a kind attitude. Yi Chen. Murong Qingcheng took a few steps forward and turned back to look at Yi Chen. Yi Chen smiled and said, Go. With your talent, you can become a demonic human king in 3 to 5 years in the chaotic demonic sea. At that time, you and I can travel the universe and explore the world together. Yes. Murong Qingcheng nodded and walked to the black-robed woman's side with determination. The black-robed woman showed a gratified expression. The demonic human tribe looked powerful, but they were too few in number. Compared to the entire human tribe, they were insignificant. Every bit of power meant a bit more hope of survival. She was confident that she could train Murong Qingcheng to be the pillar of the demonic human tribe. Let's go. The black-robed woman waved her hand, and the black rain of flowers fell from the sky and suddenly gathered together, wrapping her and Murong Qingcheng in it. Then, they turned into a black light spot and disappeared. Humph. The black-robed old man glanced at Yi Chen coldly and then disappeared. Fortunately, it was settled peacefully. Otherwise, we would have been in danger. The Yuan Emperor's image said with a bitter smile. Letting out a deep breath, as if trying to drive away the bitterness of Murong Qingcheng's departure, Yi Chen turned around and said respectfully to the Yuan Emperor's image, Thank you for your help, Senior. Yi Chen will never forget it. Although he didn't think that the demonic human emperor came here just to kill him, and maybe it was just as she said, to stop the black-robed old man. But no matter what, the Yuan Emperor's image did help him. The Yuan Emperor's image said, Let's not be so cliché. I am just a tool now. I will help whoever gets it, as long as he is not bad. Senior, what exactly is the danger of the True Water Palace? Can you elaborate? Yi Chen asked curiously. In ancient times, the demons and humans fought for the control of the True Water Palace. The demons lost. As far as I know, the demons are not people of this world. They come from the outer realms. Apart from the demons, there are other races that have invaded Elysium. However, because they are few in number and move stealthily, no one knows about them. The True Water Palace was destroyed by the experts of another race, and they carried out a secret plan, turning it into an ominous land. I went to explore but didn't find anything. Later on, I and the other kings sealed the entire palace and sunk it into the ocean, hoping that the later generations can find something and solve this crisis. The Yuan Emperor's image said. The demons are not people of this world. Yi Chen was quite astonished. This was the first time he had heard of such a secret. Moreover, the True Water Palace was also related to a race from the outer realms. It seemed like Elysium was not as safe as he had imagined. The races from the outer realms were eyeing this place covetously. Rest assured, Senior. As long as Yi Chen has the ability, I will certainly solve this crisis. Yi Chen said resolutely. The Yuan Emperor's image smiled. No rush. That seal can still persist for a long time. Perhaps you won't be needed, unless there is an external force to break the seal. Then, I still have a long time. Yi Chen let out a sigh of relief. What he lacked was time. The Yuan Emperor's gaze fell on Yi Chen and sized him up. The Yuan Emperor's image said, I can sense that you are one of the main characters of this era. Your luck is abundant. As long as you don't die prematurely, you will become a world-shaking character sooner or later. How nostalgic. If we were born in the same era, we might even be rivals. There were only a few people that could attract the attention of the Yuan Emperor. It should be known that in his era, the Yuan Emperor could be said to have shaken the whole universe and was unrivaled. Even modern people held the Yuan Emperor in high esteem, believing that Yuan Emperor was an absolute expert among the titled monarchs of the past and present. Senior must be joking. Before reaching the level of the Yuan Emperor, Yi Chen felt that it was better to be humble. This was not the time to use his heroic spirit. The Yuan Emperor's image said, "Enter life and death realm as soon as possible. At that time, you will discover that the world is so vast and mysterious that you can spend your entire life exploring it without the slightest bit of boredom." "I will." Yi Chen's gaze turned sharp. "All right, if there's nothing life-threatening in the future, don't use this painting. I don't have much energy left. Once my will enters the real world, it will gradually dissipate." As he spoke, the Yuan Emperor's image took a step forward and entered the painting, once again condensing into a water demon's silhouette, motionless. "Many thanks." Inwardly saying this, Yi Chen rolled up the painting and stored it in his storage ring. In the void, looking at the gloomy Murong Qingcheng, the black-robed woman said with a gentle voice, "Don't think too much. You and him will meet sooner or later." Murong Qingcheng didn't speak and only faintly nodded. The black-robed woman continued, "As a demonic human, you have the responsibility to protect the entire demonic human race. You should know that although our race seems calm and peaceful, it's actually filled with hidden dangers. The slightest carelessness could lead to the destruction of our entire race. Whether it's for him, for yourself, or for your family, you have to become powerful. Otherwise, you'll hate yourself for being so weak in the future." Murong Qingcheng could hear the exhaustion in the black-robed woman's voice, so she asked, "Senior, although our race is not favored by the human race, it's not to this extent, right? You haven't reached my level, so of course you don't know about the crisis of our race. Let me ask you, one day, between demons and humans, which side would you choose?" Murong Qingcheng was startled. Weren't the demons annihilated? How could the demons be annihilated? They are not a race from Elysium. They come from the outer realm, a powerful race from another world. When they come to Elysium again, it will be the second great war between demonic humans. Our race will be stuck in the middle, as if we're treading on thin ice. Countless years have passed, and no demons have made a move. It can't be such a coincidence, right? Life and Death Realm warriors only had a lifespan of 1,000 years. For a great war to happen in 1,000 years, Murong Qingcheng felt that the chances were extremely small, almost impossible. Better to prevent than to nip it in the bud. Moreover, I'm not saying it without any basis. In short, you have to become powerful as soon as possible. Powerful enough to become a peak character in this world. Only then will you have the right to speak and fight for the right to live for our race. Senior, which side will you choose? Murong Qingcheng suddenly asked. Me. The lady in black forced a smile. It's not about which side I choose, but whether they trust us or not. If they choose the demons, we are just lower-class people. If we choose the human race, they will definitely be on guard against us. If someone with bad intentions appears and provokes us, our race will be in danger. I will choose the human race. Murong Qingcheng said with determination. She was born and raised in Elysium. Half of her blood was human. Therefore, it was reasonable for her to choose the human race. It is meaningless to choose now. The lady in black did not speak anymore. She sighed in her mind, hoping that this day would not happen. At least, it would not happen in her lifetime. Without Murong Qingcheng to accompany him, Yi Chen did not ride on the flying puppet anymore. He only relied on the Zhen Yuan inside his body and flew towards the south. After half a month, Yi Chen stopped and looked down at the ocean. He mumbled to himself, the cold iron city should be right under here. The space between Qin Wantian's eyebrows split open, and the silver vertical eye looked down. In the silver world, the seawater had become transparent. Below the seabed, a majestic and vast city sat there. The city was covered by a round barrier, and there were people coming and going from time to time. It was incomparably prosperous. Closing his vertical eye, Yi Chen took a deep breath. His body flashed as he jumped into the ocean, swimming towards the Cold Iron City. The Cold Iron City was a very ancient city in Elysium. It was said that the whole city wall was made of 1,000-year cold iron. Although the 1,000-year cold iron was not a precious metal, it was still not something that could be easily found. Building the city wall would require an uncountable amount of 1,000-year cold iron. There were two reasons for entering the cold iron city. First, it was to broaden his horizons. Second, it was because Yi Chen knew that the cold iron city was rich in materials, and the trade volume was huge. Maybe he could find some extreme rank materials there, which could be used to forge extreme rank greatswords in the future. After all, he was not far from the life and death realm. It would not be a bad thing to accumulate some materials. There were 8 city gates in the cold iron city. The other places were not allowed to enter, and could not be entered. Outside the north gate, Yi Chen landed. Without much inspection, Yi Chen was allowed to enter the cold iron city. In other cities, the most prosperous place would be the restaurants. But in the cold iron city, the most popular place was the trade of materials. Walking on the street, there were stalls selling materials everywhere. Some of the things on these stalls were things that Yi Chen had never seen before. As a newcomer, Yi Chen was not familiar with the cold iron city. So, he walked around and bought some materials for forging swords. Mid-rank, top rank, everything was not missed. The higher the level of sword forging, the slower the progress would be. If one wanted to reach the realm of perfection, he would have to forge more swords and accumulate more experience. In the evening, Yi Chen arrived at a restaurant. Have you heard? Recently, a merchant group was annihilated by 3 of the 50 bandits of the Blood Sea. All of their belongings were plundered. The men were killed and the women were taken away. This is not news anymore. A few days ago, it was spread all over the city. It caused the merchant groups in the cold iron city to not dare to casually leave the city. They are currently recruiting and buying horses. Only when they have enough people will they dare to leave the city. These 50 bandits of the Blood Sea are really terrifying. The 50 bandits have always been the most mysterious force in the Blood Sea. Any one of them is an overlord of a region. It's not just about us. As long as we don't pass through the Blood Sea, it will be fine. When Yi Chen sat down, he heard many people discussing about the 50 bandits of the Blood Sea. Yi Chen did not care much about it. He ordered some dishes and wine and enjoyed it alone. After eating and drinking to his heart's content, Yi Chen left the restaurant. When he walked out of the door, a lady in blue walked past him. The two of them seemed to have sensed each other's aura and were slightly startled. This cold iron city is indeed an important city in the southern deep sea. There are many hidden dragons and crouching tigers. On the street, Yi Chen thought to himself. Chapter 822. The lady in blue was also very curious about Yi Chen. His cultivation was only at mid-rank half-step king warrior realm, but somehow, he had given her a lot of pressure. If it were normal half-step king warriors, they would not be able to feel this kind of pressure at all. But, her instinct was extremely sharp, and she was very sensitive to some hidden things. The life and death secret realm that happens once every 10 years will start in half a year. All of the hidden young warriors will show up. I cannot be careless. A thought flashed through her mind as she turned around to check on Yi Chen. But unfortunately, Yi Chen had already disappeared from the street. The Cold Iron City was a big trading city for materials. Since there were a lot of materials, there were naturally some rare alchemists and weapon forgers. Alchemists would need a cauldron, and weapon forgers would need a stove. Besides that, they would also need a suitable environment for making pellets and weapons. Renting a yard that was suitable for weapon forgers, Yi Chen started to forge mid-rank great swords, continuing to train his skills. Dang, 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 dang. Inside the forging room, Yi Chen's upper body was bare as he held a hammer in his hand, hitting the sword. It was a mid-rank hammer, and each time he hit the sword, it would have the same amount of power. There was also a special power that washed over the sword, clearing out the meridians of the sword. After 4 to 5 days, Yi Chen was finally able to forge top-rank mid-rank great swords with 100% success rate. The success rate of super-rank mid-rank great swords was also more than 30%, close to 40%. This meant that his mid-rank sword forging technique was getting better and better, and he was not too far away from the perfect level. On this day, Yi Chen came to a big street. On this street, there were many trade caravans with different flags, fluttering in the wind. The Green Sun trade team is hiring warriors to go to the Blood Sky land. Late Sea of Souls Realm warriors are needed for 100 people, 150,000 top-rank soulstones per person. 10 half-step king warriors, 1 million top-rank soulstones per person. 1/10 will be paid first, and the rest will be paid when we arrive at the destination. The Sickle trade team is hiring warriors to go to the Blood Sky land. There were dozens of different sized trade teams on the street. The smaller ones only needed dozens of people, and no more than 30 at most. The bigger ones needed hundreds of people, and the price was also very high. It was not hard to imagine how high the total value of their goods would be. These people are either demi-beasts, demon arts, or even demonic beasts. Indeed, the Blood Sky land is full of demons, and there are not many righteous people here. The Blood Sky land was a land that the Battle King had been to before. It was much smaller than the True Spirit land, but it was filled with beasts and demons. It was a paradise for beasts, demonic martial artists, and demi-beasts. Compared to the Blood Sky land, the True Spirit land was 100 times more peaceful. The Full Moon trade team is hiring warriors of Late Sea of Souls Realm warriors. There is no limit, 200,000 top-rank soulstones per person, 30 half-step king warriors, 1 million top-rank soulstones per person, 3 million top-rank warriors. The top warrior, half-step king warriors, 300,000 top-rank soul. The other big trade teams had already paid a high price, but the Full Moon trade team's price was 20% higher than theirs. Plus, they were interested in hiring the top half-step king warriors, so the price was 3 million top-rank soulstones. If they wanted to hire all of them, they would have to pay almost 100 million top-rank soulstones. Damn! The Full Moon trade team is indeed rich. They can always beat us. What can we do? They are from the Full Moon trade team, which is one of the top 2 trade teams in the Blood Sky land. They have power all over the whole land and the ocean around. Their wealth is immeasurable. 100 million top-rank soulstones is just a small amount for them. The other trade team leaders looked at the Full Moon trade team with envy. Count me in. Me too. Haha, this is the right time. I am going back to the Blood Sky land anyway. Everyone who came to this street were all powerful warriors. The weakest among them was at Mid-Sea of Souls realm, and the highest was obviously half-step king warrior. Before, everyone was still waiting for a good price, but once the Full Moon trade team announced their price, 1/3 of the people rushed over. Soon, the Full Moon trade team had hired 200 to 300 Late Seas of Souls realm warriors, and more than 10 half-step king warriors as well. However, the leader of the trade team was still not satisfied. The Cold Iron City and the Blood Sky land were separated by the Blood Ocean. The 50 robbers were extremely aggressive, and the Full Moon trade team was the target of the 50 robbers. Without enough power, it would be easy for them to be slaughtered. Leader, although there are a lot of powerful warriors in the Cold Iron City, as well as a lot of the Southern Deep Ocean and Blood Sky land, not everyone would be willing to take this kind of dangerous job. I am afraid we will have to stay for a few more days and hire enough powerful warriors before we leave. There were 4 half-step king warriors in the Full Moon trade team, and the one talking was a middle-aged man in his 50s. He was full of demon chi, obviously walking on the demon path. The leader of the trade team was only at Late Sea of Souls realm. He shook his head. No, the 50 pirates must have spies in the city. The longer we wait, the more prepared they will be. We have to leave today. We cannot give them any time to prepare. The middle-aged man thought that it was reasonable, so he thought to himself, the 50 pirates are too arrogant. I wonder why no one has gone to kill them. It is not that simple. The 50 pirates have thousands of years of history. Every time one of them dies, there will be a new one to replace it. There should be a huge organization behind them, and they will never stop killing them. Plus, there are also life and death realm warriors among them. It will be very troublesome. The 50 pirates were only people on the surface. As the leader of a trade team, he knew more than the others. Do you still need people here? Right then, Yi Chen walked over and asked. Half-step king warrior. Yes. The leader of the trade team was a chubby elder. Seeing that there was another half-step king warrior who accepted the job, a smile appeared on his face. This is your 120,000 top-rank soul stones. The remaining 90% will be given to you when we get to the Blood Sky Land. This is the rule. The chubby elder gave the deposit to Yi Chen. Yi Chen did not really care about the hiring fee. He was going to the Blood Sky Land anyway, so it would be convenient for him. Standing on the side with his eyes closed, Yi Chen waited quietly for the departure. Count me in. All of a sudden, Yi Chen heard a crisp female voice. He opened his eyes and was a bit surprised. It was the lady in blue who had walked past him in front of the restaurant a couple of days ago. She was very pretty, and there was a long and thin blade on her waist. She looked very handsome, like a heroine. As Yi Chen looked at her, the lady in blue looked over as well. Hello, I am Lan Sanmai. The lady in blue introduced herself. Yi Chen. Yi Chen's senses were very sharp. He could tell that although Lan Sanmai looked very peaceful, there was a hint of evil chi in his eyes. He was obviously a powerful warrior who trained demon arts. Although his cultivation was a bit weaker than the Darklight King, he was still at the first level of life and death challenge. The chubby elder was very happy. He did not have much hope before, but he did not expect that there would be a top half-step king warrior joining them. With a top half-step king warrior, the trade team would be much safer. All right, let's go. Waving his hand, the chubby elder said confidently. Wait, do you still need people? A familiar voice fell into Yi Chen's ears. He turned around and said with surprise, Thunder Spirit King. It was indeed the Thunder Spirit King, one of the top half-step king warriors of the true spirit continent. Haha, great. Another top half-step king warrior, and this person's cultivation is so powerful. He must be at least at the peak of the second level of life and death challenge. The chubby elder and the 4 top half-step king warriors of the trade team were very excited. 2 top half-step king warriors had appeared in a row. Today was indeed a lucky day for the trade team. As for the Thunder Spirit King's request, the chubby elder would naturally not reject it. He gave him 300,000 top-rank soulstones without hesitation and invited him to join the trade team. You are Yi Chen, right? The Thunder Spirit King would not ignore Yi Chen, so he said with a smile. Yi Chen said with a bit of emotion, I did not expect to see you here. What a coincidence. Yeah. The Thunder Spirit King was also very emotional. The Cold Iron City was hundreds of millions of miles away from the true spirit continent, and to be able to run into an acquaintance was almost impossible. What surprised him was that Yi Chen had already reached the mid-rank half-step king warrior level. With his talent, he might be able to compete with the top half-step king warriors. Leaving the city, the group of dozens of people flew toward the south. Along the way, Yi Chen and the Thunder Spirit King chatted for a while. There are so many powerful warriors out there, unlike the true spirit continent. They are all either in closed-up training or like me, running out into the open ocean. There are not many of them left on the true spirit continent. The Thunder Spirit King said. Yi Chen said, there are a lot of half-step king warriors on the true spirit continent as well. On his way here, he had run into a lot of half-step king warriors, which made him wonder if the half-step king warriors on the true spirit continent were not as powerful as the deep South Ocean. Although he had not actually made it into the circle of half-step king warriors on the true spirit continent, he had only run into a bunch of them in the 4 Extreme Emperor's tomb. The Thunder Spirit King said, of course not. That time in the tomb, only a small part of them had gone. There were still some left in the martial schools. Besides, most of them are not on the true spirit continent. They are exploring everywhere, looking for their own opportunities to train themselves. Is that so? Yi Chen nodded. After reaching the half-step king warrior level, it was time to prepare for the life and death realm. Obviously, everyone would not just sit around and do nothing. They all had their own things to do. The Thunder Spirit King said again, you are already at the half-step king warrior level. You cannot miss the life and death secret realm. By then, you will run into a lot of martial geniuses just like you. I know. There is an entrance in the Blood Sky Land anyway. I will just go in there. There was no way that Yi Chen did not know about the life and death secret realm since it was in the Battle King's memory. It is good that you know. Oh right, I have also entered the life and death secret realm before. Inside, we of the true spirit continent have to stick together. Otherwise, we will be easily bullied by the martial geniuses from other places. So, after you go in, you have to get in touch with the warriors on the life and death realm waiting list. They are Luo Tianju. There are martial geniuses on the life and death realm waiting list in our true spirit continent. Yi Chen had never heard of them before. In terms of martial geniuses, of course, they are not as powerful as your generation. But, they are all in their 40s, and their cultivation is very high. If it were not for the fact that I am over the age limit, I could introduce you to them. Chapter 823. From the Thunder Spirit King, Yi Chen had learned a lot of things. Although this year's martial geniuses were very powerful and glorious, the geniuses from the previous year would not be that bad either. The most powerful ones were almost the same as the top 4 young warriors, who had reached the half-step king warrior realm before the age of 40. They had even made it into the life and death realm substitute ranking. Now that 10 years had passed, they were all almost 50 years old, which meant that their cultivation and power must be very powerful. This also explained why there weren't any young geniuses in their 40s or 50s in True Spirit Continent's master ranking. It was because the majority of them had already become half-step kings, so they naturally wouldn't come out to compete for the ranking. Master-level experts were only masters, so how could they be compared to half-step kings? As for the most powerful half-step king warriors, there were more than 3 of them. The Thunder Spirit King knew 5 of them, and adding some of them who were in closed-door training all the time, there might be more than 10 of them. The True Spirit Continent was not as simple as it seemed. Otherwise, it would not be the center of the Elysium, the place with the most luck. Besides, Yi Chen had also learned from the Thunder Spirit King that a lot of the martial geniuses had already reached the half-step king warrior realm. Bai Wuxue was the first, and the others were right behind him, including Lu Xiaoyu, Xia Hozuan, Xiao Chuhe, and the godly shark princess. As for Du Guju and the rest, when the Thunder Spirit King left, they had not made the breakthrough yet. All in all, the martial geniuses of the True Spirit Continent had all started to make the breakthrough. In terms of training talent, Yi Chen actually did not have much of an advantage. Thunder Spirit King, are you at the 3rd level of the Life and Death Challenge? Yi Chen asked. The Thunder Spirit King laughed. You saw through me. Not bad, I have already reached the 3rd level of the Life and Death Challenge. I will try to reach the Life and Death realm before I turn 70. Although Xianhu had reached the life and death realm at the age of 35, it did not mean that people who were slightly weaker than her would be able to reach the life and death realm at the age of 36 or 37. Life and death realm was the highest realm in Elysium, and it was not something that could be easily reached. Not only did it require talent, but it also required a bit of luck. Perhaps one might be one of the top martial geniuses before reaching the life and death realm, but would reach the life and death realm later than others. Anything was possible. Mr. Yi, are you from the True Spirit Continent? As the two were talking, Lan Sanmai suddenly interrupted. Yi Chen nodded and said, yes. He and the Thunder Spirit King did not use Jin Yuan sound transmission, so it was not surprising that Lan Sanmai could hear it. I have always wanted to go to the True Spirit Continent. I heard that it is the center of the Elysium, and the Blood Sky Continent was also separated from the True Spirit Continent. Lan Sanmai knew a lot about it. The Thunder Spirit King chuckled. They all say that there are many beasts in the Blood Sky Continent. You have trained a demon martial art, so you must be one of the famous martial geniuses in the Blood Sky Continent. You flatter me. Your power is the one that I admire. Lan Sanmai was very scared of the Thunder Spirit King, who used blades just like her. However, his cultivation was 2 realms higher than hers. She did not think that she would be able to beat him with a higher cultivation. She was a martial genius, but the Thunder Spirit King was not ordinary either. Although he did not look like a young man, but more like a middle-aged man, judging from his life force, he was only in his 50s. Being able to reach the 3rd level of the Life and Death Challenge in his 50s, he must have been a powerful martial genius. Lan Sanmai was very sensitive to life force. The reason why the Thunder Spirit King looked like a middle-aged man was that he had used a secret art to reduce his lifespan by 10 years. Therefore, he looked 10 years older than his peers. Based on the Sea of Souls Realm warrior's lifespan of 300 years, he was only a young man in his 50s. The Cold Iron City was very deep under the sea. When it came out of the water, a group of hundreds of people floated in the air. "Everyone, come on up." The chubby elder touched his storage ring with his finger, and a massive puppet ship appeared in front of everyone out of nowhere, which made everyone's eyes light up. This puppet ship was 60 to 70 meters long and 10 meters wide. It was covered in a light yellow chi layer, and there were dozens of puppet cannons at the front and the back of the ship. "Not bad. It is a top-rank puppet ship." Yi Chen chuckled. Although the top-rank puppet ships would not be able to threaten half-step king warriors, they would be able to deal quite a bit of damage to Sea of Souls realm warriors, which would save a lot of manpower. Most importantly, sitting on the puppet ships would be a lot easier, since the journey to the Blood Skyland would not be a small one. Everyone got on the ship, and it started to move. The speed of the puppet ship was very fast, even faster than Yi Chen's flying puppet. Within a second, it could fly dozens of miles away, and one could not feel any wind on the ship, so they could enjoy the scenery from the front of the ship. The chubby elder walked to the front of the ship and said to the Thunder Spirit King and Lan Sanmai, "Thank you too for taking the job and protecting our full moon trade team." The Thunder Spirit King said, "You said it yourself, we were hired by you, so there is no need to thank us. Regardless, with you two here, this trip will be much safer. Once we reach the destination, I will apply for a VIP tag for you too. In the future, as long as you buy anything from us, it will be 10% off, and you too will be the priority." The chubby elder was very smart. No matter where it was, top half-step king warriors were very rare. If he could use the tag to make friends with them and make them feel good about the full moon trade team, it would be a good thing. He believed that the people above would support him for sure. The puppet ship flew for 3 days and arrived on top of a blood ocean. "We are here. Everyone, be careful." The chubby elder walked out of the cabin and reminded everyone, "Don't worry. We have 2 top half-step king warriors here. Unless the 50 robbers attack together, we will have to go back in defeat." Everyone was very relaxed. After all, there were 2 top half-step king warriors here, so there was nothing to worry about. The chubby elder shook his head with a smile. He knew that what everyone said made sense, but he still told everyone to be ready for battle. The first day was peaceful. The second day was also peaceful. On the third day, something bad happened. Every once in a while, there would be a wave of powerful soul power scanning over. "It seems like we are being targeted." Yi Chen followed the source of the soul power and saw a lot of people. All of them were wearing bloody robes, looking very aggressive. They should be the top 50 robbers in the blood ocean. It would be good if they did not come. "Now that they are here, let my demon blade see some blood," Lan Sanmai said lightly. The next noon, the puppet ship was surrounded by 400 to 500 people. Looking at the 50 people in the lead, some of the people at the front of the ship yelled, "50 robbers. It is the 50 robbers. Oh my God. They are all here. Our luck is so bad. We have bumped into the members of the 50 robbers group," someone said with a pale face. Yi Chen's gaze landed on the 50 bandits. He discovered that among them, 30 had a cultivation base of peak late Sea of Soul Realm, 20 were half-step kings, and 3 of them were strongest half-step kings. "It has been a long time since I had a big battle." Thunder light flashed in the Thunder Spirit King's eyes, his battle intent boiling. One of the 3 leaders of the 50 bandits, a middle-aged man with a face full of scars, licked his lips. "The full moon caravan is the biggest fat sheep. How can we let it go? This time, we've slaughtered the full moon caravan. The loot we've gained is worth at least 300 million top-grade spirit stones." 300 million? You are underestimating the full moon trade team too much. I bet it is worth 500 million. An old lady with fur on her face said with a creepy smile. "All right, let's not be careless. There are 2 top half-step king warriors on their ship. Once we get on, we need to keep them busy. Do not give them the chance to kill our people. The one in the middle was a tall middle-aged man with fish fins on his head. His eyes were more black than white, looking very creepy. Without top half-step king warriors, I think they would not dare to return to the Blood Skyland. The old lady had an evil look on her face. The tall middle-aged man took a step forward and said with a loud voice, "The people on the ship are the members of the Full Moon Trade Team. Hand over your goods and 100 million top-rank spirit stones, and we will let you go. Otherwise, we will kill you." The fat elder stood at the front of the ship and replied, "You are the head of the 50 robbers, the tyrant fish. We, the Full Moon Trade Team, do not have any conflicts with you guys. Please move aside now. Do not cause any misunderstanding." Misunderstanding? The tall middle-aged man laughed out loud, showing his sharp teeth. He said, "In our eyes, there is no misunderstanding. There is always obedience. If you do not obey, we will kill you all. I will ask again, do you obey or not?" Hearing him, the fat elder started to panic. On the side of the 50 robbers, there were 3 top half-step king warriors and 17 half-step king warriors. On their side, there were 2 top half-step king warriors and only 14 half-step king warriors, which was a lot weaker. Besides that, although the other 30 of them were only at peak level late seas of Soul's Realm or rank 10 tyrant beasts, being able to be in the top 50 robbers meant that they were not weak at all. They might even be able to kill half-step king warriors. What he was worried about the most was that there were so many of them, and they were only hired warriors. He wondered if they would run away. The fat elder's worry was not without reason. Some of the people on the ship had a flicker in their eyes. They were obviously scared by the aura of the 50 robbers. Lan Sanmai saw that and said coldly, "The Blood Sea 50 robbers would never leave anyone alive. Have you ever heard of anyone that they would let go?" Lan Sanmai's words had woken everyone up. Indeed, since they had encountered the 50 robbers, they would not be able to run away. If they did not stick together, they would only die worse. "What are you afraid of? Let's fight with them. We might not lose. Everyone, let's go." Everyone yelled. The tall middle-aged man's expression turned cold. "You are looking for death. Kill them all." As the tall middle-aged man waved his hand, the 50 robbers and the people behind them all rushed over, throwing out powerful attacks that landed on the puppet ship. "Let's go." Lan Sanmai, Thunder Spirit King, and Yi Chen took the lead and left the puppet ship. The rest of them came out as well, throwing out attacks together. Chapter 824. On the puppet ship, all of the cannons were fired at the same time, shooting out intense flames. As for the members of the Full Moon Trade Team, none of them got off the ship, since they had to protect the elder and the goods. But they were also standing on the ship, attacking the 50 robbers from a distance. The battle had reached its climax within a second. Because of the fact that the number of people had been reduced by half, more than 20 people had been killed before they could even make a sound. "Let's kill some of them first." A cold light flashed through Lan Sanmei's eyes. Her body turned into a black beam of light, shooting into the enemy's group like a thunder. The next second, dark red blade light shot out. Each blade light would take away dozens of lives. Within a couple of blinks of an eye, almost 100 people had died in her hands, including 6 robbers. One of them was even a half-step king warrior, but they still could not survive one blade attack. The tall middle-aged man's eyes were wide open as he yelled, "Ghost Lady, what are you waiting for? Go stop her." Lan Sanmai was way too fast. Before the two of them even made contact, she had already entered the enemy's group, which made the enemies unable to react in time. Hundreds of them had been killed by her, which was a huge loss. Plus, Lan Sanmei's power had shocked the tall middle-aged man as well. The ghost lady was indeed an old lady with long hair on her face. Her cultivation was very high, having reached the 2nd level of the life and death challenge. Her weapon was a pair of iron claws that shone with a cold light. Shoo! Like a monkey, she flashed once and passed through countless warriors, appearing right in front of Lan Sanmai. "Little girl, die." The iron claws attacked as the ghost lady laughed. "It is not certain who will die yet." Lan Sanmei's weapon was a pitch-black long blade. With Zhen Yuan poured into it, It shone with a dark red chi flow. As soon as the blade was thrown out, a bright blade light appeared, clashing with the Ghost Lady's iron claws. Clang! The Ghost Lady could not stop her body and was blown away. It is the Demon Blade spell from the Demon Blade Martial School. You are the Demon Girl Blade Lan Sanmai, the Ghost Lady yelled out loud. The Demon Blade Martial School was a famous super martial school in the Blood Skyland, and the Demon Blade spell was their secret martial art. The way of using the power was completely different from the other blade artists. It was extremely aggressive and had the vibrating power. Good that you know. Lan Sanmai quickly gave chase. Along the way, the weaker enemies were shredded into a bloody mist by the saber chi he emitted before they could get close. Lan Sanmai's momentum was unstoppable. Misty, go and help. The tall middle-aged man hadn't expected that the ghost woman would be at a disadvantage in just one move. When he heard the ghost woman call out the other's identity, he suddenly understood and hurriedly asked the shadowy middle-aged man to help. Demonis Blade Lan Sanmai, if you catch her, you'll definitely have a good time. Hee, Ghost Granny, let me help you. The gloomy middle-aged man laughed sinisterly. His figure distorted like a phantom and disappeared on the spot. When he appeared again, he was already behind Lan Sanmai. Lan Sanmai's senses were sharp. The moment Misty appeared, she sensed it. She spun her devil's blade and slashed towards Misty's body. It's not good for a woman to be so fierce. Misty easily dodged the attack, as if his body was weightless. Yi Chen, let's go. As the Thunder Spirit King spoke, his body jumped out and took out his long blade. He held it with both of his hands and threw out a blade attack from the sky. Boom! 1,000-meter-long thunder and lightning blade light appeared out of nowhere. 70 to 80 enemies in its path were all turned into ashes by the thunder and lightning blade light. The power of the Thunder Spirit King's one blade attack was even more powerful than Lan Sanmai's. Of course, it also had something to do with the speed of his blade aura. Lan Sanmai's blade speed was slightly faster. Bastard! Where did this kind of powerful warrior come from? The tall middle-aged man was just about to start killing when he was shocked by the Thunder Spirit King. Let me fight you. The tall middle-aged man shook his steel fork and a silver-blue fork shadow shot out, attacking toward the Thunder Spirit King. Although he was only at the second level of the life and death challenge, his real body was a tyrant fish, which meant that he was born to be able to fight beyond his cultivation. Otherwise, he would not have been able to become the leader of the 50 robbers. Ding, dang. The two started to fight. They are both very powerful. Yi Chen had seen the battling power of Lan Sanmai and the Thunder Spirit King. Lan Sanmai's Demon Blade spell was very unique in terms of how he used his power. Combined with his profound sense martial arts, it was almost indestructible. The Thunder Spirit King's blade art was very powerful, and his body power was also very powerful. He seemed to be a body training warrior. With the combination of the two, it was extremely horrifying. Let's kill him together. Yi Chen stood in the air alone. In front of him, dozens of people from the 50 robbers had their eyes on him. They attacked together, trying to turn him into a blood mist. Shoo! Yi Chen disappeared from where he was standing. 27 sword attacks. In the sky, Yi Chen pointed out his left sword finger and the broken blood sword came out of its scabbard automatically. It divided into 27 sword shadows and shot out. Shoo! 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 Although the defensive sword spell would not be able to kill the top half Step King warriors, it would be too easy for some of the Sea of Souls realm warriors or rank 10 warriors. It was like piercing through tofu. 27 sword shadows shot out at once, killing all of the enemies. This is powerful as well. On the front of the ship, the Fat Elder saw that Lan Sanmai and the Thunder Spirit King were this powerful, so he was very happy. He thought to himself that they might be able to make it back to the Blood Skyland safely. Once Yi Chen performed his defensive sword spell, the happiness on his face turned into excitement. God bless the Full Moon Trade Team. This guy has mastered the Lost Sword spell, and he has already reached the level of 27 sword attacks. The reason why Yi Chen was able to reach the level of 27 sword attacks was all because of the sword forging he had done before. During the process, His understanding of the sword art had never stopped. If it were not for this, he would not have wasted so much time on forging swords before his cultivation had improved. After all, the life and death secret realm would open in half a year, and he would have to increase his own power. The defensive sword spell was too powerful. In other words, besides the sword realm, none of Yi Chen's other attacks could kill people this fast and this easily. Go! Releasing his soul power, Yi Chen strengthened his control over each of the sword shadows, allowing the 27 sword shadows to enter the battlefield between the two sides. The powerful warriors on the Full Moon Trade Team's side realized that the enemies who were fighting with them before had been decapitated and died on the spot. This scene kept repeating as the number of enemies decreased rapidly. In the end, there were only less than 100 of them left. Why is this happening? The tall middle-aged man had been blown back by the Thunder Spirit King's blade attack. He took some time to check out the battle situation, but it had shocked him even more. The Thunder Spirit King chuckled, "If you want to take him on, you will need a top half-step king warrior. Unfortunately, you do not have enough people. Embark, take this brat out first." Biting on his teeth, the tall middle-aged man sent a message to Embark, telling him to take on Yi Chen first. He thought that the ghost woman would be able to last for a while under Lan Sanmei's attack. As long as Embark could kill Yi Chen within this period of time, it would still be a big win for him. You take care of yourself first. The Thunder Spirit King held his blade with both of his hands as he threw out another blade attack. The Thunder Blade light seemed to be able to split the sky and the ground, blasting the tall middle-aged man into the ocean. Boom! A massive creature broke out of the water. It was a massive tyrant fish, its body colorful and full of bone spikes. In its mouth, there were rows of sharp teeth like that of a shark. The tall middle-aged man had decided to risk it all. He returned to his original form, wanting to kill the Thunder Spirit King once and for all. On the other side, Embark and the ghost woman separated and jumped at Yi Chen. "Brat, it is your bad luck to run into me. I, Embark, love to kill powerful people." As Embark spoke, a circle of transparent patterns spread out. Those who were touched by the pattern fell into an illusion immediately. No matter who was friend or foe, they would start killing each other crazily. "Using an illusion against me?" Yi Chen sneered as he pretended to fall into an illusion, his eyes glazed over. "Haha, die." Seizing the opportunity, Embark flew over and threw out a palm attack towards Yi Chen's head. If that attack landed, Yi Chen's head would definitely explode. Suddenly, a sharp sword light shone brightly as a head flew into the sky. One sword attack, and Embark was killed. Using an illusion against Yi Chen was his biggest mistake. When Yi Chen was facing the dream-eating wolf's dream, he was able to wake up instantly. Although Embark's illusion power was powerful, he had underestimated Yi Chen's soul power. Yi Chen's soul power was not weaker than his, in fact, it was way more powerful. In essence, it was at the level of a life and death realm warrior. If he did not use an illusion, Yi Chen would have to use his bewitching mirror shattering to kill his opponent with one sword attack, unlike now, where he could cut off his opponent's head with one normal sword attack. Spare me. In the distance, an ugly monkey with long hair was running away at full speed. It was the ghost woman's real body, and the one chasing after her was Lan Sanmei. Originally, La Sanmei could have easily killed the ghost lady. However, Embark had joined the fray. Embark's illusory realm ability had greatly affected her, causing her blade art's accuracy to drop by a lot. However, once Embark left, she immediately regained the upper hand. With just 2 or 3 blade strikes, the ghost lady was forced to run away in embarrassment. Demon cut. Throwing out a blade attack, Lan Sanmei stopped chasing. Swoosh. The ghost woman's body was cut in half, the stinky blood splashing everywhere. On the other side, the Thunder Spirit King jumped high into the air, landing on the head of the tyrant kingfish. He held his great blade with both of his hands, stabbing it into its body. Falling thunder cut. Boom. Countless twisted thunder fell onto the Thunder Spirit King's body, pouring into the fish through his body and blade. Pap. Pap. The fish's body was burnt black, its life force completely gone. It could not be more dead. What? The leaders are all dead. On the enemy's side, after seeing the tyrant kingfish, the ghost woman, and misty, the 3 top half-step king warriors all dead, they all looked dazed, losing all of their battle intent. On the other hand, the full moon trade team's side, their aura had increased drastically. It was as if they had all eaten some kind of great tonic. When they started to kill people, they were much more aggressive than before. Even the leaders of the enemies had died, so what was there to be afraid of? Plus, they had the advantage of numbers. The chubby elder was also very happy, his expression relaxing a little. The 50 great bandits made people tremble with fear. Unfortunately, they had encountered 3 great malefic stars. Each of them was decisive in killing and extremely strong in martial arts. Chapter 825. 200 against dozens, the 50 robbers were doomed to be wiped out. And the biggest contributors were without a doubt the Thunder Spirit King, Lan Sanmai, and Yi Chen. Please come on board. The chubby elder welcomed the 3 with a big smile on his face. The elder knew how to be a nice guy, so he added 500,000 top-rank soulstones to the Thunder Spirit King and Lan Sanmai. As for Yi Chen, he also enjoyed the treatment of a top half-step king warrior, which was also 3,500,000 top-rank soulstones. No one would complain about having more soulstones, so the 3 gladly accepted it. On the deck, not many of the powerful warriors who had been hired by the full moon trade team had died. Right then, they had gathered in groups of 3 to 5 and started to discuss. So that blue-robed girl is the demoness blade Larsan Mai. No wonder she's so powerful. Demonic blade sect's disciples are all blade experts, and this Larsan Mai is a blade Dao genius of the demonic blade sect that's rarely seen in thousands of years. Larsan Mai's blade art is naturally powerful, but this blade-wielding middle-aged man's blade art is even more tyrannical. With a single blade strike, he killed 70 to 80 enemies. In the end, he stabbed his blade into the tyrant kingfish's head and electrocuted it. Did you not see how high his cultivation is? In my opinion, he is at least at the peak of the 2nd level of the life and death challenge, or even the 3rd level. These 2 are indeed powerful, but that young man seems to be even more mysterious. The 3rd leader of the 50 robbers, misty, was killed by him within 1 sword attack. It was such a quick death. I think it is strange as well. Misty is a powerful warrior at the 1st level of the life and death challenge. How could he not even survive 1 sword attack? Perhaps he was too careless. Before, everyone did not pay much attention to Yi Chen, and most of the topics were on Lan Sanmai and the Thunder Spirit King. But now, Yi Chen had undoubtedly become the focus, mainly because the scene of him killing misty within 1 sword attack was way too shocking. It was almost effortless. On the bow of the ship, Yi Chen and the other 2 chatted while enjoying the scenery. Lan Sanmai looked at Yi Chen curiously. You don't seem to be affected by the bewitching illusion. I didn't expect him to die so quickly in your hands. Yi Chen said, everyone has their own secrets. This can be considered one of my secret. The Thunder Spirit King laughed. Do not underestimate him. He is the most powerful martial genius in our True Spirit continent right now. Not only in the True Spirit continent, but in other places as well. I don't think there is anyone who could compete with him. At least, until now, I have not seen anyone. Hey! The number 1 martial genius of the True Spirit continent. Lan Sanmai was shocked. The True Spirit continent was the center of Elysium, and it would be extremely difficult to become the number 1 martial genius there. No wonder he was only at mid-half-step king warrior level, but he gave me such a strong pressure. It turns out that he is the number 1 martial genius of the True Spirit continent. Lan Sanmai thought to himself. He started to value Yi Chen even more now. After taking care of the 50 pirates, there were no more pirates left on the Blood Ocean. The puppet ship passed through the Blood Ocean smoothly and arrived at the shallow ocean in the north of the Blood Sky continent. Lan Sanmai reminded the 2, the Blood Sky continent is extremely chaotic. Just like you have heard, there are demons and ghosts everywhere. If you want to protect yourself, it would be best if you don't have any conflicts with powerful parties. Some of the smaller parties should be able to handle it with your power. If you really can't handle it, You can go to the Chaos Demon Region Demon Blade Martial School to look for me. Over there, my Demon Blade Martial School is the most powerful one. After arriving at the shallow ocean in the north of the Bloodsky continent, the full moon trade team was almost safe. Although it was chaotic, it was only for normal people. The full moon trade team belonged to the Full Moon Chamber of Commerce, which was one of the top 2 chambers of commerce in the Bloodsky continent. There were not many people who would dare to mess with them. If the Bloodsky continent was not chaotic, I would not have come. The Thunder Spirit King did not put Lan Sanmei's words in his mind. I know what I am doing. Yi Chen knew more than the Thunder Spirit King. He had the memory of the Battle King, so he knew how to survive in the Bloodsky continent. Just like what Lan Sanmei had said, the Bloodsky continent was indeed chaotic. The people here were either demon cultivators, beasts, or half-beasts. Compared to the peaceful humans, the races here were much more cruel and cold-blooded. I hope to see you guys again in the future. Lan Sanmei knew that the two did not take the chaos in the Bloodsky continent seriously, but she was just reminding them. Being able to reach their realm, they had been through all kinds of dangers, so they were naturally very good at surviving. After passing through the shallow ocean in the north, the puppet ship finally flew above the Bloodsky continent. The natural yuan qi in the Bloodsky continent was very violent, which was not suitable for the righteous cultivators to train. In other words, if the righteous cultivators stayed here for too long, they would become evil or demon cultivators. Haha, here we are. Let's go down. The Full Moon Chamber of Commerce was everywhere in the Bloodsky continent. The chubby elder controlled the puppet ship and landed in a big city near the ocean. Getting off the ship, everyone's eyes flashed with passion. It had been a safe journey, and now it was time to collect the remaining 9% of the commission. Everyone, the commission is here. Come and get it. Inside the Chamber of Commerce, a lot of people came out. After receiving the elder's order, a small leader came out to give out the commission. The 3 of you, your commission. Yi Chen and the other 2 were different. The elder was giving out the commission himself. Before, the elder had already given Yi Chen 230,000 top-rank soulstones, and now he was giving him 3,150,000 soulstones. Hold on, your VIP tokens. The elder had just entered the branch and had discussed with the branch leader. He had gotten 3 tags and gave them to Yi Chen and the other 2. Not bad. If there is a chance in the future, I will take on your missions again. The Thunder Spirit King put away the tags. He knew that building a good relationship with the Full Moon Chamber of Commerce was not a bad thing. Thank you. From now on, you will get a 10% discount when you buy anything from my Chamber of Commerce. The elder was extremely excited. You too, I will go first. Lan Sanmei said. Have a safe trip. Yi Chen nodded. Shoo. A black beam of light sliced through the sky as Lan Sanmei flew out of the city. Soon, he disappeared into the horizon. Yi Chen, where are you going next? The Thunder Spirit King asked. Yi Chen said, to the Iron Blood region. Iron Blood region? The Thunder Spirit King froze a bit. It seems like you already have a plan. What about you? Yi Chen asked him back. Me. I have reached the 3rd level of the Life and Death Challenge, so I need to go through some life and death situations. Otherwise, I would not be able to reach the life and death realm before the age of 70. To become a top half-step king warrior, one had to be active rather than passive. Without going through life and death situations, one would not be able to reach the life and death realm. Then, I hope you can become a life and death realm warrior soon. You too. The Thunder Spirit King laughed as he flew into the sky. In the end, only Yi Chen was left. Iron Blood region. I wonder what the martial school left by the Battle King has become after hundreds of years. I hope it has not been destroyed yet. The Battle King had been to the Bloodsky land before and created a rank 5 martial school in the Iron Blood region, called the Immortal Sword Martial School. Later on, the Battle King returned to the True Spirit continent and ran into a powerful enemy. Since then, he had never returned to the Iron Blood region. This time, Yi Chen had come because of the Battle King's request. Of course, Yi Chen himself had been looking forward to this place as well. If the human cities were peaceful and prosperous, then the cities in the Blood Skyland could only be described as evil. On the streets, there were beasts that had not transformed yet. Some of them had tails, some had fur, and some had scales on their bodies. They were in between humans and beasts, so they were more or less called beast men. Besides these beasts, there were also demon martial artists with a cold aura and demi-beasts with a cold expression on their faces. Occasionally, one could even see demi-demons. This place looked prosperous, but it was actually full of danger. Humans were bound by morals, and the races here valued power more than anything else. They did whatever they wanted, and were cruel and violent. Shoo! Extending his body, Yi Chen left the city, flying toward the Iron Blood region like lightning. Chase! Just as Yi Chen left, a group of beast men chased after him. They had seen it clearly that Yi Chen had just received the commission from the Full Moon Trade Union, and it seemed to be quite a lot. In the Blood Skyland, the spirit stones were much less than in the true spirit continent. Warriors with the same cultivation would not have as much wealth as the ones in the true spirit continent. Plus, they liked to rob other people's wealth. In this group of beast men, there were 2 demi-beast kings, and the rest were all rank 10 beasts. It was a force that should not be underestimated. They had been gathering around the Full Moon Trade Union all year round, waiting for the chance to ambush the lone warriors who had received the commission. Outside the city, in the wild, it was extremely barren. A beam of sword light sliced through the sky. Right after that, another group of light followed. Seal the sky and lock the ground. The leading demi-beast king opened both of his hands as a bright yellow light shone out of his body. He then shot out into the sky. Woo! The gravity suddenly increased, and Yi Chen's body started to slow down. Boss, your special power is indeed fast. You can make them stay every time. The beast men behind him laughed. The demi-beast king with a face full of pockmarks sneered, without this special power, even if we have our eyes on our target, we might not be able to catch up. Turning around, Yi Chen looked at this group of beast men. You want to die. Yi Chen did not plan to cause any trouble, as he only wanted to get rid of them. But, the latter's special power had slowed him down a lot. Although he had ways to leave, he would not be a coward and not fight back. Arrogant. Kill him. With the 2 demi-beast kings in the lead, this group of beast men rushed toward Yi Chen. Some of them had already started to turn into their original forms, such as tigers, birds, or huge snakes. They all performed their powers, attacking toward Yi Chen. Then die. The broken blood sword was taken out of its scabbard, turning into 27 sword shadows, slicing through the group of beast men. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Blood splashed everywhere as the broken blood sword returned to its scabbard. Yi Chen reached out his hand and waved, taking all of the beastman's storage rings into his hand. Then, he turned around and flew away. Behind him, a huge amount of dead beast men fell from the sky, landing heavily on the ground. The blood dyed the ground red and was absorbed by the ground. Chapter 8:26. The True Spirit Continent had 4 regions and the Sky Marshal region. There were no regions in the Blood Skyland, so there were only 13 regions in total. The Iron Blood region was one of them, located in the west of the Blood Skyland. The Iron Blood region was huge, much bigger than the Thunder region of the True Spirit Continent, but not as big as the Sky Marshal region. The journey to the Iron Blood region was 70 million miles long, and using the flying puppets would be too slow. So, Yi Chen flew in the air at his normal speed. Above the Blood Ocean, the wind was blowing hard, and the waves were crashing. Shoo, shoo, shoo. 3 blood shadows appeared out of nowhere in the sky, looking down. I did not expect that the 50 robbers that we had trained with so much effort would all be killed within one day. Did you guys find out who killed them? The blood shadow in the middle was blurry. It was obviously not the real body, but just a projection. But, it still contained a horrifying power. The blood shadow with a pair of horns on its head said, I found out. Half a month ago, a full moon trade team from the Cold Iron City left for the Blood Skyland. They hired a lot of powerful warriors. After our people got the news, they ambushed them here, and we have not heard from them since then. Full Moon Trade Team. The blood shadow on the right was obviously a female, with a pair of blurry blood-colored wings on her back. She sneered. The Full Moon Trade Team would not have any powerful warriors that could kill all 50 robbers. It must be one of the powerful warriors that they hired. As long as we can catch one of them, we will be able to find out who it is. The blood shadow in the middle nodded. Do not touch the Full Moon Trade Team. If we go back and take revenge, it will only break the balance between us. We just need to catch the culprit. I will leave this to you, Blood Cow. Do not disappoint me. Don't worry, brother. The blood shadow with the horns on its head agreed. The blood shadow and the female blood shadow in the middle slowly disappeared, as if they had never existed. The blood shadow with the horns opened its mouth wide, its eyes red. On the way to the Iron Blood region, Yi Chen did not run into many attacks. After all, his power was right there. Mid-rank half-step king warrior was enough to calm even the craziest killer down. Moreover, there were not as many half-step king warriors or beast kings in the Blood Skyland as there were not as many in the True Spirit continent, so it was impossible for Yi Chen to run into all of them. Along the way, Yi Chen gained some understanding of the Blood Sky continent. In the Blood Skyland, the biggest race was the beasts. Therefore, the beasts' martial schools were the most numerous, and they were also the most powerful. Among them, the top 10 martial schools were the most powerful, and they were the overlords of the Blood Skyland. Next would be the human race. One had to admit that Elysium belonged to the human race after all. Although the number of beasts was not less than the human race, it was still the human race that dominated the world, not the beasts. Even in the Blood Skyland, the human race was not weak. Most of the humans living in the Blood Skyland trained in the demonic arts, and there were very few who trained in the righteous arts. Even if there were, they would slowly turn to the demonic arts as time went by, because it was too difficult for the righteous to survive in this place. You could reason with others, but others would argue with you with their fists. As time went by, hatred would grow in your heart, and you would eventually become a member of the demonic arts. The third biggest race would be the demi-beasts with the bloodline of the beasts. In the True Spirit continent, there were very few demi-beasts, and they would not make much of a difference. However, in the Blood Skyland, the demi-beasts were the third biggest race, with hundreds of billions of them. The 6 demi-beast families were all very famous, and were way more powerful than the demi-beast families in the True Spirit continent. There were also demi-demons in the Blood Skyland. Because of the lack of demi-beasts, all the demi-demon families had gathered together, forming the Blood Sky demi-demon race. Overall, it was obviously not as powerful as the demi-demon race in the chaotic demon ocean, but it was way more powerful than the demi-demon race in the True Spirit continent. The top 4 races were always in conflict with each other. However, in the Blood Skyland, the demi-beast race was recognized as the overlord. Everyone was afraid of them, and did not dare to offend them too much. In the Iron Blood region, there was one of the top 10 beast martial schools, the Iron Paw Beast Martial School. 1 week later, Yi Chen arrived at the Iron Blood region. According to the Battle King's memory, Yi Chen knew clearly that the Immortal Sword Martial School was located in the Black Iron Mountain in the Iron Blood region. The Black Iron Mountain was rich in black iron, which made it the perfect location for a sword art martial school. At least, the outer disciples would not have to worry about not having a good sword. Arriving at the Black Iron Mountain, out of caution, Yi Chen did not fly in. Instead, he flew at a low altitude along the empty space between the mountains. Chem. Why are there so many beasts here? On the way, Yi Chen frowned. Inside the Black Iron Mountain, there were beasts everywhere. Rank 1 beasts, rank 2 beasts, rank 3 beasts. There were countless of them. Normally, there would not be that many beasts around a human martial school. Otherwise, how would the disciples be able to come out? They would not risk their disciples' lives for no reason. Something is not right. Yi Chen had a bad feeling about this. As a half-step king warrior, Yi Chen's stealth ability was extremely powerful. At least, low-rank beasts would not be able to detect him. Even if he ran into some rank 9 or 10 beasts that had already transformed, they would not be able to detect Yi Chen. Flying past one mountain after another, Yi Chen felt that he was not that far from the center of the mountain. Swoosh! His palm shook, and a huge hole appeared on the mountain next to him. Stone powder flew everywhere. Crawling into the hole, Yi Chen blocked the hole again. Open! The vertical eye between his eyebrows opened as Yi Chen closed both of his eyes tightly. Inside the silver world, Yi Chen's third eye's power pierced through the space, allowing him to see everything within millions of miles. Finally, he found the martial school in the mysterious Iron Mountain. Looking around, he forced a laugh. The martial school in the Black Iron Mountain was not the Immortal Sword Martial School, but a Beast Martial School. On the huge stone tablet in front of the mountain, there were 3 huge words: Beast Wolf Martial School. If the Beast Wolf Martial School is here, then where is the Immortal Sword Martial School? Perhaps they had been killed by the Beast Wolf Martial School? Yi Chen thought it was a bit ironic. In the true spirit continent, the beasts were the targets of everyone's hunt. But in the Blood Skyland, the beasts were the masters. Although the low-rank beasts could not escape the fate of being hunted down because of their low intelligence. There must be a Beast King in the Beast Wolf Martial School. Asking them would be suicide. Letting out a breath of dirty chi, Yi Chen shattered the rocks blocking the entrance of the cave. His body flashed as he flew out of the mountain. Iron Blood City, the main city of the Iron Blood region. Inside the city, there were mostly humans, demi-beasts, and demi-demons. In the true spirit continent, the beasts would need to reach rank 9 before they could transform. But in the Blood Skyland, they would be able to transform a bit earlier, at rank 7. According to the rumors, the top 10 beast martial schools in the Blood Skyland had created a kind of shape-shifting pellet, which could allow the beasts to transform earlier. But the beasts above rank 7 could not be compared with all the humans and demi-demons in the city after all. Looking at the beasts walking past him with pride, Yi Chen thought to himself, after devouring a windfire pellet and getting the extreme rank beast power crystal, the dream-eating wolf is about to become a demi-beast king. I wonder if it will be able to transform this time. If it succeeds, then I will let it stay by my side. There were different kinds of beasts as well. They were born with a hard time transforming, but some of them were born with it. It was hard to tell. A Sea of Souls realm warrior who trained demon arts walked over. Yi Chen passed on a Zhen Yuan message to him. Excuse me, is there a human martial school in the Iron Blood region called the Immortal Sword Martial School? The warrior froze for a second before his eyes landed on Yi Chen. He suddenly became more respectful. Immortal Sword Martial School? I have never heard of it before. I have lived in the Iron Blood region for so many years, but I have never heard of a martial school called the Immortal Sword Martial School. Did you get the name wrong? Oh, I see. Do you know where I can get information in the Iron Blood City? Walk past this street and turn right. You will see a pavilion with 3 big words written on it. That is the place for people to get information. They have eyes and ears all over the Blood Skyland. But the price is a bit expensive. So, do not go there for normal information. What? The pavilion? Yi Chen was shocked. He could not believe that the pavilion had opened its business in the Blood Skyland. It was way too powerful. All of a sudden, Yi Chen looked serious. He thought that even if the pavilion had a powerful background, it would not be too exaggerated. But now, he did not think that way anymore. It was a power that was almost all over the Elysium. Although it was not trying to take over the whole world, it was still shocking enough. Welcome to the pavilion. What kind of information are you looking for? The manager of the pavilion was a human elder. Yi Chen said, Excuse me, what is the relationship between the pavilion here and the one in the true spirit continent? Yi Chen thought about it and asked. The elder laughed brightly, We are one family. It seems like you are from the true spirit continent. Yi Chen did not deny it and said, I want to know about the Immortal Sword Martial School. It was built 600 years ago. Immortal Sword Martial School. Let me see. The elder took out a book from the counter and kept flipping. Soon, the elder lifted up his head. The Immortal Sword Martial School you mentioned, was it founded by the Battle King? If it was, then it would be it. Indeed. Yi Chen was overjoyed. The elder sighed. Right now, the Immortal Sword Martial School is no longer called that. It has been changed to the Zhongtian Martial School. Zhongtian is the name of the battle king. As for the rank, it has dropped to rank 6. Where is it? Yi Chen hurried to ask. 13 million miles to the west of the Iron Blood City, there is a mountain range. The Zhongtian Martial School is right there. Let me give you a piece of advice. The school is surrounded by enemies, so you better not get involved. Otherwise, it would be very hard to get out, and you might even get killed. Thank you, but I have to go. Yi Chen paid the spirit stones and left the pavilion. Waiting until Yi Chen left, the elder took out a portrait from the counter. It was indeed Yi Chen. The #1 martial genius of the true spirit continent, Yi Chen. It is indeed him. 13 million miles had only taken Yi Chen 1.5 days. From afar, Yi Chen saw a huge mountain range. He did not know why, but the mountains were full of plants, and the mountains were beautiful. However, it gave off a gloomy vibe, as if it was an old man who was going to die at any second. Immortal Sword Martial School. How bad is it? Not only has it been changed to the Zhongtian Martial School, but the scene in the school is also so miserable. Martial schools had accumulated a lot of luck. Naturally, there would be a lot of scenes. If the luck was dim, then it would look gloomy. Chapter 8:27. It was because of the Battle King that I was able to learn the Immortal Sword intent. Although it might not be the main reason for me to achieve what I have today, it is still something that I cannot ignore. The Battle King's martial school is in trouble, and I cannot ignore it. Otherwise, it would be a shame to the Battle King, and my mind would not be clear. Originally, Yi Chen wanted to come and see the Immortal Sword Martial School, to see how it was doing. If it was really powerful and full of powerful warriors, he would leave quietly, and not bring any trouble to them. He did not want to become the leader of the school either. However, now that the school was in trouble, and had even changed to the Zhongtian Martial School, he could not just ignore it anymore. Woo! Letting out a deep breath, Yi Chen's body flashed as he flew into the deep part of the mountain range. In the middle of the mountain range, there was a huge mountain with beautiful scenery. The top half of the mountain seemed to have been cut off by someone with a saber, as it was smooth and flat. On top of the mountain, there were many buildings, high and low. Other than the gloomy scene, it was actually quite a nice place. Under the mountain, there was a huge stone monument with 3 big words carved on it, Zhongtian Martial School. 2 rows of disciples were guarding the mountain gate, chatting here and there. Right then, a group of people came down the mountain with their bags on their backs. Brother Gao, did you guys ask for leave to go home? Seeing some people coming down the mountain, one of the guarding disciples asked with a smile. The teenager who was walking in front of them shook his head silently. Guys, I am glad to have been brothers with you for so many years. In the future, our friendship will continue, and I will miss you guys as well. Brother Gao, what are you doing? The guarding disciple's face darkened, as if he had guessed something. The teenager did not say anything, but the female disciple next to him said sadly, "We have decided to leave the school and never come back." Why? Why do you have to leave Zhongtian School? The leader and the others have treated you well. Why do you have to leave at this time? Once you leave, Zhongtian School will really have no successor. Among the disciples who were guarding the mountain, a rather straightforward young man shouted. The older teenager in front of him shook his head. Brother Wu, don't say any more. Brother Gao must have his own difficulties. Hardship? What hardship? Isn't it just Zhongtian School being bullied by the other schools? Although I, Wu Changxing, do not have much talent, I know that the difficulties in front of me will only make me train harder. Since I cannot compete with others in terms of resources, I will use double the time to make up for it. Being humiliated by others will only stimulate my fighting spirit. One day, I will stay in Zhongtian Martial School and watch it dominate the world. Wu Changxing roared unwillingly, tears welling up in his eyes. Junior brother Wu. The young man who was addressed as senior brother Gao stared at Wu Changxing in a daze. In his impression, junior brother Wu had always been a happy-go-lucky person. When he spoke to others, he would always laugh and laugh. In the past, he was even mocked by his senior brothers. Who would have thought that Wu Changxing would have so many thoughts in his heart? Me. The young man was speechless. In the school, he could be counted as an amazing genius. On the first day he joined the school, he had sworn in his heart that one day, he would use his own talent to make the school prosper. But now, he had already forgotten that oath, because the reality was just too cruel. No matter how talented he was, without resources, he would not be able to compete with those who were not as talented as him. You can go now. I, Wu Changxing, have chosen the wrong person. Jiao Jiyuan, from now on, you are no longer my idol. Wu Changxing turned his head. Sigh. The other disciples sighed and stopped talking as well. This disciple has a straightforward personality, but his loyalty is rare. Although he is only at early astral reaching realm, he could be one of the pillars of the school if he is trained properly. On top of a huge tree, Yi Chen stood there. With his half-step king warrior power, as long as he did not do anything reckless, these disciples would not be able to find him. Looking over, Yi Chen was completely hidden in the shadows of the trees. Creak. Tightening his fists, a painful expression flashed through Jiao Jiyuan's eyes. However, it was hidden very well, and no one else could see it. You guys stop talking. The female disciple right next to Jiao Jiyuan started to cry. Everyone looked at the female disciple. Her name was Li Kui, and she had always liked Jiao Jiyuan. Li Kui said while crying, "What do you know? Do you know how much brother Jiao had sacrificed in order to stay in the school? You don't know anything, so what are you yelling for? Sister Li." Jiao Jiyuan stopped her seriously. Li Kui looked at Jiao Jiyuan and said loudly, "Brother Jiao, I have always liked you. I used to like you, and I still like you now. Therefore, there are some things that I have to say. Why are you always the only one getting hurt? I can't stand it anymore." Senior Sister Li, what happened? A guard disciple asked. Li Kui said sadly, "You guys should all know that Brother Gao's family is a rank 7 family. There are a few successors, and Brother Jiao is only one of them. In order to stay in the school, Brother Jiao gave up the successor status. However, he never said it, because he did not want others to share his pain." Jiao Jiyuan said calmly, "Since Sister Li has said it, then I do not have to deny it. Indeed, I am no longer the successor of the Jiao family, but I do not regret it. I never wanted to be the leader of the Jiao family. I like the freedom that the school has given me. But what about your fiancée? She had waited for you for a couple of years. Seeing that you were so determined to stay in the school, she cancelled the engagement with you. She thought that you would have no future in the school. I heard that she had gotten together with a genius disciple from the Extreme Heaven Martial School. Enough, don't say any more." Jiao Jiyuan's eyes were red as he stared at Li Kui. Li Kui was shocked. She had never seen such a scary expression on Jiao Jiyuan's face before. This Jiao Jiyuan. Yi Chen thought that Jiao Jiyuan had left the school because he felt that there was no future in the school. He did not expect that he had sacrificed so much, which was beyond his expectation. Early Sea of Soul's realm. Extremely talented. Not bad, not bad. I have enough resources. Within a couple of years, I will be able to help you reach peak level Late Sea of Soul's realm. Yi Chen could tell that Jiao Jiyuan's mental state was very high. With his age and talent, if he had enough resources, he would have reached Late Sea of Soul's realm already. As for resources, it was easy to get them, but mental state was hard to come by, which was why a lot of people needed to train themselves. Xiao Tang, why can't you understand me? Jiao Jiyuan's eyes were filled with pain and confusion as he mumbled to himself. Seeing Jiao Jiyuan struggling like this, a hint of regret flashed through Wu Changxing's face. He stood up and bowed deeply to Jiao Jiyuan. "Brother Jiao, I have wronged you. You can beat me or curse me. It is not your fault." Jiao Jiyuan shook his head. "It is my will that is not strong enough." As he spoke, he turned around to look at Li Kui. "Sister Li, thank you." "Thank me?" Li Kui was surprised. Jiao Jiyuan said, "These things, if I did not say it out, I would have to keep it in my heart. But now that I have said it, I feel much better. I have decided that I will never leave the school. Before, I was able to make it, and now that there are no more obstacles in my way, why can't I do it? I can only say that my will is not strong enough. I always thought that I was doing the right thing. Yi Chen suddenly realized that Jiao Jiuan's willpower had increased drastically. It was a mental state breakthrough, which was very rare. Brother Jiao, you are not leaving anymore? Not only was the guarding disciple surprised, even Li Kui was shocked. Yes, I am not leaving anymore. Before, I lived for the family and Xiao Tang. But now, I want to live for myself. Then I will not leave either. Li Kui said. Hey, Sister Li, didn't you say that your mother was sick and needed you to go back and take care of her? Jiao Jiuan asked confusedly. Li Kui smiled shyly. I lied to you. You. Jiao Jiuan could not do anything to her. Seeing that the two were not leaving anymore, the people who had followed them down the mountain looked at each other. Finally, one of them threw down his bag. I am not leaving either. Motherfucker, I have lived in the school for 10 years. What is the point of leaving now? Is it like admitting defeat? If you all are not leaving, how can I leave? The disciple threw down all the bags. In fact, there was not much inside, and it was just a formality. But now, there was no need for that. Haha, everyone is not leaving anymore. Wu Chongxing was ecstatic. Yes, we are not leaving anymore. The other guarding disciples smiled. Looking at the happy faces of his junior brothers, Jiao Jiuan felt very satisfied. He liked the Zhongtian school, because it was like his home. His junior brothers and sisters were happy and harmonious, and the elders of the school all cared about him very much. It was because of these that he could not leave. Ha ha ha. All of a sudden, a loud laugh was heard. On the mountain road, a huge wind suddenly appeared. This wind came out of nowhere and spread out everywhere. In the sky, the color of the clouds had changed, and the speed of the clouds had increased by 100 times. Not only were the disciples on the mountain shocked, even some of the masters on the mountain had changed their expressions as they spread out their soul power down the mountain. It is a half-step king warrior. Not good. Is someone here to cause trouble for our school again? It was not their fault for being surprised. After all, the school had been through a lot of troubles, and there were a lot of people looking for trouble. After all these years, they had been holding it in. Shoo. A human figure suddenly appeared in front of Jiao Jiuan and the group. It was indeed Yi Chen. Who are you? Jiao Jiuan's Zhen Yuan burst out. He could tell that Yi Chen's power was 100 times more powerful than his, but he was not afraid at all. I am from the Zhongtian school. Yi Chen said with a smile on his face. Impossible. I have never seen you before. Wu Chongxing did not believe him. If you do not believe me, then follow me up the mountain. Yi Chen walked up the mountain. Jiao Jiuan hesitated a bit, but still followed. He could somehow feel that Yi Chen had a peaceful aura, without any killing intent. Walking in the front, Yi Chen turned around and said to the group of disciples, "You all are not bad. Your persistence has finally paid off. From now on, the school will no longer be the same as before. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories,